listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Waiting is now over. It's time to go battling for the last time in each class here at the West of Scotland Karting Club, the Summerley Raceway at Larkhall, Scotland. This is a BEA beautiful day here in the sunshine of Scotland. A gorgeous, hosting, roasting circuit in the beautiful, gorgeous countryside. And we have got some magnificent races to come on this magnificent circuit with 7 finals in each of the classes to come. For Bambinos, Mini X30, Army Cadet, Junior TKM, Junior and Senior X30 and TKM Extreme. Jake Sanson here with you as we have been the whole weekend in this fantastic third weekend of the Two-Tone Money Super 1 British Karting Championships. And this is the first ever meeting of the MSA Bambinos National Championship at race conditions. So they've raced 3 times, but now the cameras are rolling for TDI Media. These are the races that will go on the YouTube channel to hundreds of thousands of viewers around the world on social media and across the internet. People watch this championship far and wide throughout Europe, through North and South America, Australasia, Asia and Africa. We've even had drivers come across from various different parts of the world, from China, India, Japan, Barbados, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, and all across Europe to come and compete in this championship. The furthest traveller here this weekend is the Japanese ace Douglas Bolger, and of course there's the young Filipino William Go, who is racing here this weekend. We have, however, this weekend got the MSA Bambinos, and they are out first, and it's going to be a great grid with Fraser Anderson and Oscar O'Sullivan from the front row of the starting grid, with Sky Parker and Ryan McCall on row 2. Gregor Reed and Aston Sharp are on the third row of the grid from Freddie Duncan and Lee Khan. Then it is Fletcher Jameson, Freddie Hare and Evie Davidson starting from the back of the grid, but she will charge forward with local knowledge here, the young lady from Bathgate. So it's no holds barred and it's everyone for himself. So Fraser Anderson, hoping that the Castle Douglas Massive, supporting him here this weekend, can spur him on to another victory in the second final, the televised final. But the man alongside him, Oscar O'Sullivan from Bexley, is going to be a very shrewd opponent, and he will be charging forward. In third position on the grid, we have the Welsh lady from Traralgon, Sky Parker, doing an absolutely fantastic job all weekend. Sheer determination throughout, and great to see her finish on the podium in the first race. Could she get a victory? Ryan McCall alongside her from Ashley Heath on the second row of the grid. Should be very entertaining to watch, as to the 2 drivers from Scotland alongside on the third row of the grid. From Stranraer, it is Gregor Reed, the number 98 from Stranraer, and then of course Aston Sharp, the number 25 from Aberdeen, not a million miles away, and a wonderful city. I once made 150 quid on the streets playing guitar there. That's a very, very favoured city for me. Then on the fourth row of the grid, Freddie Duncan, a very talented youngster from Maidstone in Kent. He will be there on the fourth row of the grid alongside Leith Khan from London. And then we have our last 3 drivers on the grid, Fletcher Jameson and Freddie Hare from St Leonards-on-Sea and Southampton, respectfully. And then we have the young lady from Bathgate, Evie Davidson. The drivers head out onto the circuit, and we will go around for a rolling formation lap. This class, of course, MSA Bambino National Championship, is a standing start. It is the only grid here this weekend that is a standing start, so the mechanics are in position. Just 1 driver and 1 mechanic once they get to the holding area, of course. But it is going to be a very interesting battle for each of these 11 competitors. Fraser Anderson from pole position, from Castle Douglas, lining up on the front of the grid from Oscar O'Sullivan. Then it's Sky Parker and Ryan McCall on the second row. Gregor Reed and Aston Sharp on row 3 from Freddie Duncan and Leith Khan. Then it is Fletcher Jameson, Freddie Hare and Evie Davidson. This is their opportunity to now get themselves lined up and ready for action. And the drivers will now be ready to rock and roll here at Larkhall, Scotland, as this is the race everybody wants to win. The televised final. This is the one that they can send via the internet to all of their mates, to nannies and uncles and aunts and granddads and all the rest of them. And this is where they can start their season on a high. The MSA Bambino National Championships, as the drivers bring their karts to the starting grid. And it's going to be a really great race, as it has been already 3 times this weekend between Fraser Anderson and Oscar O'Sullivan. Will the rest of the field be able to get close to them once they break away? What they have to remember, of course, above all else at this level, is to have fun and enjoy it. The sole tyre drops, and we're racing! Cracking start off the grid from the 25, Aston Sharp. He's going to break through into third position off the line. Beautiful getaway from Aston Sharp. Anderson gets into the lead. O'Sullivan in second place. But Aston Sharp bracking his way through into third position. An amazing start as the drivers work their magic again. So down to the hairpin and then up through to the wrong back straight into that square right, turn 5. And the drivers working beautifully as they run around the circuit for the first time. Into the right-hander and leading the way. It was Anderson initially. Has he still got the advantage over O'Sullivan? It's very close. It's Aston Sharp. Aston Sharp is leading. What a start from the 25. He's off like a rocket at the lead of the race. And Fraser Anderson in second position from Oscar O'Sullivan. Brilliant start to the race proceedings here. So down through the right-hander. And then a quick left flick and into the final turn. A really good start to the race here. As out in front, Aston Sharp has taken the early proceedings. Second place for the number 10, Fraser Anderson. A warning flag has gone out on that lap around to the 46. That is Oscar O'Sullivan in third position. I'm not sure what that's for. That's got to be a warning flag. But a really exciting battle as Aston Sharp leads from Fraser Anderson, Oscar O'Sullivan, Ryan McCall, Sky Parker, Freddie Duncan, Gregor Reed, Leif Kahn, Fletcher Jameson, Evie Davidson and Freddie Hare. They come up through the square right, back into sight of the spectators here. And it's a great start to the race for Aston Sharp, although it now is Fraser Anderson in the lead. Anderson has got through past Aston Sharp. So Sharp determined to go for the victory, but Anderson has got one over on him. So let's see if Sharp can find a way back through, but he's there in second place. Third position now. That looks to me like Ryan McCall has got through into third place in front of Oscar O'Sullivan. So a much tougher race this time from Oscar O'Sullivan, although he is going to make the move at a third position. Is he? Oh, he had to back out of that one. And now Sky Parker may get a run on him into turn 1. Sky Parker's looking good. Is going to have to go the long way round. Oscar O'Sullivan is going to dive for the inside of Ryan McCall into turn 1. They disappear from my view, unfortunately. So we'll have to pick them up as they come around one more time. But Fraser Anderson leading the way in fantastic fashion from Aston Sharp in second. Ryan McCall is third. Oscar O'Sullivan in P4. Then it is Sky Parker from Freddie Duncan, Gregor Reed, Leif Kahn, Fletcher Jameson, Freddie Hare and Evie Davidson. But Anderson and Sharp are breaking away from the rest of the field. In third position, that is still Ryan McCall. But up to fourth place now has come Sky Parker, the 40... Oh, no, sorry, that's Oscar O'Sullivan. Then Sky Parker in P5. Sixth place, that is Freddie Duncan, the 16, having a great run and starting to push on to the back of Sky Parker from Treloghan. But into the final turn, it is the Castle Douglas Boy Wonder, still leading the way. Aston Sharp closing him down. So Ryan McCall comes across the line in third position as the fastest lap of the race at 55.69. Oscar O'Sullivan fourth from Parker, Duncan, Reed, Kahn, Jameson. Well, now it's Hare actually in front of Jameson, and then Evie Davidson starting to push on. But a good start to proceedings from everybody. Fraser Anderson and Aston Sharp in particular have got themselves a very neat and tidy lead here and are starting to push further forward from the rest of the field. Ryan McCall trying to stay in touch at the moment in third position. Has he made a little bit more ground? Yes, he has. So Ryan McCall is actually chasing these two down, and he's the only one able to run with the leading two. Oscar O'Sullivan is now behind Sky Parker, who has got into P4. O'Sullivan tries again on Parker. Not going to happen. Sky Parker holds stationary, holds firm there in P4. So let's see if she can continue to work through the field and close up on these leading trio who are very close together. McCall has caught Aston Sharp and is now looking for a way to get by. So can Aston Sharp make it into the top two? Well, he's there already, but Ryan McCall is trying to come further up, and 55.39 from Aston Sharp. 55.39 from Ryan McCall is a very good lap indeed. 8 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Still some great racing here at Larkhall. It's a really, really intense battle as the drivers come up to the back straight, and then they'll come into that square right-hander as the racing continues. The drone flying overhead to capture the images of the racers around the circuit for the television. But how about this? The leading three still incredibly close together. Anderson is your leader. Second is Aston Sharp, but Sharp's got a good run off the turn. Can he make the move? Not this time. So he has to stop back in. Ryan McCall in P3. Fourth position is going to be Sky Parker this time around from Oscar O'Sullivan and Freddie Duncan in sixth place. Then it's Gregor Reed in the 98. Still trying to work further forward and keeping in touch for the moment. Then it's Leif Kahn in front of Freddie Hare. So Freddie Hare is in there in the 23. And then we've got Fletcher Jameson in the number 10 position. No, it's Evie Davidson. So Evie Davidson is there, but where's Fletcher Jameson? I think we've got a stationary yellow flag at turn 1, so I think that Fletcher Jameson has retired from the race at the far side of the circuit. So that is a shame for Fletcher, but a great start to his season. He's put in some great performances nonetheless. Anderson has now pulled clear of Aston Sharp and Ryan McCall, who's got through into second place. So Ryan McCall is now in second position. Third is Sharp. Sky Parker is catching them. As up into fifth place has come Freddie Duncan. He's made the move on Oscar O'Sullivan. Really exciting racing thus far as these 6 drivers all have a chance to win, and they are giving it absolutely everything they've got. Great racing from Anderson. He leads the way still. McCall in second. Sharp is third. Then it's Parker, Duncan, O'Sullivan, Gregor Reed, Leith Khan, Freddie Hare and Evie Davidson, with Fletcher Jameson sadly looking to be out of the race. So Fraser Anderson leading the way still on the number 10 car. The only chassis that is not a right, it is a Synergy for Fraser Anderson, and he is leading at the moment as they go through the right-hander back into the sight of the spectators. And who's that in second place? Ryan McCall getting very close to Fraser Anderson now. And even Oscar O'Sullivan is struggling to keep up with the leading group at the moment, as Aston Sharp has another look to try and make his way past Ryan McCall. McCall is pushing Fraser Anderson. He's got a good chance to make the work go forward. But here comes Aston Sharp to try and make a look to the inside of Ryan McCall. Still a long way to go. Got to be in it to win it. 5 minutes and 20 on the clock. 5 of them going for the victory. And it's Anderson from McCall, Sharp, Parker and Duncan. O'Sullivan's dropped back. Gregor Reed is in 7th place. Leith Khan is in 8th from Freddie Hare and Evie Davidson. Still a lot of racing to go. And they know they've got to keep absolutely resolute. This is going to be a very hard race, and they will have to work incredibly hard to get there. So the drivers will battle in for position, but Fraser Anderson leading the way, 0.15. So Fraser Anderson, the Synergy kart, out in front of the rest of the field, all on right. So this is going to be very close. So it will be absolutely fantastic. It's a zip kart. My apologies at the front of the field. I thought it was a Synergy because that's what's been written in the entry list. It is actually a zip kart at the front of the field. My apologies. Fraser Anderson in that kart. Ryan McCall is trying to get the move on the inside line. So can he get the undercut? This is an opportunity. Ryan McCall has to cut back in. This is great racing from them. And all 6 of them now very close together as Oscar O'Sullivan is caught back up to the back of the pack. So it's Anderson, McCall, Sharp, Parker, Duncan and O'Sullivan. Really, really tense from the leaders. Gregor Reed in 7th, still a few seconds back, but there's a second covering the top 6. Anderson, McCall, Sharp, Parker, Duncan and O'Sullivan. Any one of those 6 can win this race. This is going to be a really interesting battle all the way to the finish line, and it's not easy to tell who's going to get there as Aston Sharp has to move to defend Sky Parker. Now trying to cut back to get the inside line for Ryan McCall, and he spins! It's a spin there! Sky Parker's had to take avoiding action, and Oscar O'Sullivan has moved forward. And it looks to me as though that is Aston Sharp having stalled the engine. Oh, what a shame. I think that is Aston Sharp out of luck and out of the way. So that's now just 5 of them left to battle for the victory, and Anderson and McCall have been given some space. O'Sullivan is there in 3rd from Parker, and then the 16 in there of Freddie Duncan. What a shame for Aston Sharp. He's got going again, but he is now down at the back of the queue, and that puts him down to 10th position behind Evie Davidson. Well, unlucky for Aston Sharp, but he did lead the race. He can take the positives from that. He was a really strong competitor in this one, and he has done a grand job. It's not easy to be in the middle of the battle, but Aston Sharp has just got to keep his head up, keep it going. He's done a grand job, and everyone back in the team will be very proud of him. Here they come. Anderson, McCall, O'Sullivan closing up. Parker and Duncan pushing each other forward too. So there is a 3-kart scrap for the victory. Oscar O'Sullivan still a part of it. They're in 3rd position. McCall getting closer to Anderson as well. 2 minutes 40 plus 1 lap on the clock. There's a long, long way to go still. Every corner is going to feel like the last for these guys as they push for position. A great chance for some absolutely amazing racing from these guys as they work their way through. Gregor Reed in 6th position. Leith Khan, Freddie Hare, Evie Davidson and Aston Sharp. And then up front, there is the Flying Scot up at the head of the field. Fraser Anderson from Castle Douglas holding the position at the moment, but Ryan McCall is right in there. Will the trophy be going back to Ashley Heath, the top step of the podium? We'll find out shortly. This is going to be a close one. as the racing continues. But Ryan McCall is there in a good position and a good mode right now. Hopefully this will be a really good run to the flag. But now we're going to have a spectacular run as we've got just under 2 minutes plus 1 lap. Fraser Anderson leading the way from Ryan McCall. And the third place man in there, Oscar O'Sullivan. I thought he was going to make a move into the final turn then, but it wasn't quite going to happen on that occasion. They come across the line very close together. Sky Parker still has Freddie Duncan for close company. Gregor Reed is not a million miles away in 6th position either, as Aston Sharp is closing up on Evie Davidson in the battle for 9th position. So Aston Sharp will want to try and get past Evie Davidson as best as possible. And I think a move into the last hairpin could be on. Well, Sharp's not going to make a move just there, so we'll have to wait for another chance to get past Davidson. Now he's going to try and zip past on the inside line. There's not a lot of room, and Aston Sharp has to wait for his moment. But at the moment, it is Fraser Anderson who leads in this race, as we are running out of minutes, just under a minute plus 1 lap to go. So I think this is going to be the penultimate lap we begin this time by. And the MSA Bambino Championship has been fantastic in its first race meeting at national level. But now there are 5 drivers in the fight because O'Sullivan has caught up to the 2 leaders. Parker has caught up as well and brought Freddie Duncan with them. 2 laps to go and 5 of them battling for the win. And it will be incredibly close as Aston Sharp has now made the move on Evie Davidson to come up to 9th position. So good to see him making progress again. And as we keep saying, these are new drivers to racing. He can be very proud of what he's achieved here this weekend, battling for the lead. And he has been a great racer, a great competitor. And with steely nerves, he has continued on. He's not thrown his toys out the pram. He has got on with it. Good lad. Now here come the leading battle. 5 drivers all in it. Anderson's got pressure. McCall is there in 2nd place. Then it is Oscar O'Sullivan, Sky Parker and Freddie Duncan. 5 drivers fighting for the victory in this last race of the day for the Bambinos. And that's Oscar O'Sullivan trying to make the move on McCall, and he's lost ground. Through comes Sky Parker. Freddie Duncan nearly gets past as well. So Sky Parker's now through into 3rd place. So we've got 1 more lap to do, and Sky Parker is on the back of Ryan McCall. We've got a great chance to go for it. Last lap this time by. I don't know what he was punching in the air for, because the last lap has just begun. So surely Fraser Anderson has got to keep racing. I hope he didn't think that was the finish line, because if he thought that was the end of the race, there is 1 lap to do. So I'll have to figure out what the race is going to do from here on in. But it's an easy mistake to make. But the last lap board was out, not the checkered flag. Let's see what's happened as they come through. Well, incredibly, Anderson is still there in the lead. Anderson's still running out in front. 2nd place, that's Sky Parker. Parker's come through to 2nd. Ryan McCall's 3rd. Then it is the 48 of Oscar O'Sullivan. So it's going to be a run to the flag. As Sky Parker now looks for a way to come past Fraser Anderson. It's going to be these 2. Up to the final turn it's going to be, and this will be a really tough fight. Into the final turn they come, and Sky Parker's going to try and get there, but it's Fraser Anderson. Fraser Anderson there. Sky Parker in 2nd. Great results. Fraser Anderson makes it 3 wins out of 4. Terrific battle, and Fraser Anderson is the winner of the televised final from Sky Parker and Oscar O'Sullivan. Terrific race here at Larkhall in the MSA Bambino final, and that was absolutely wonderful to watch. Fraser Anderson from Sky Parker and Oscar O'Sullivan on the podium. They will be Ryan McCall, Freddie Duncan, Gregor Reed, Laith Khan, Aston Sharp, Freddie Hare and Evie Davidson. And sadly, Fletcher Jameson retiring from the race. But what a victory for Fraser Anderson. And barring any technical infringements post-race, he will be on the top step of the podium. Fraser Anderson, a fantastic maiden weekend in the National Championships for him at race level. Fraser Anderson, Sky Parker and Oscar O'Sullivan, Scotland, Wales and England. What a fantastic podium that is, and Fraser Anderson very deserving of that victory. Held on to the pressure cooker all the way throughout. Really exciting stuff. So the next race in the bill is going to be for the Mini X30 Championship. So that's going to be a really exciting battle. And we'll see what those guys can do as they go to battle around the circuit. But the dust is settling on the Bambino race, and it is an absolutely fantastic run and a great performance from them. They really have done themselves a great service there. Some great racing, and there's more where that came from the Mini X30s in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
That's what the MSA Bambinos had to give us. Next up, we are going into the Mini X30 final, and that's going to be a really exciting battle as well. And someone who knows a little bit about the Mini X30s is a man who's done them on the virtual side of things in the kart sim, Bachini. He's going to join us for the next 2 races on commentary as he tries desperately to put Anthony Davidson out of a job on Sky F1. He's done a fantastic job up here at the box earlier on. He's going to add 2 races more to his commentary repertoire, and I think he might be the youngest person ever to make a commentary debut on Downforce Radio. Not bad going, guy. So we'll talk through it as the racing goes on. But the Mini X30s are up next, and that is Josh McLean and Josh Rowledge on the front row of the grid, with Ivan Lomliev and Rashan Chikarimbo on that second row. From Kean Shields, the Flying Scotsman, and Jacob McComb. Then we have Jessica Edgar, Harvey Ryby, Oliver Duffel, Aaron Walker, and Daniel Bolton. Really competitive field, and it's been very close all weekend from the front to the back. I guesstimated, Kai, that the second you're out of cadets, this is the class you want to go into.
Yeah, hopefully we can move up as soon as possible into minis, but don't know if we can afford it. I think it's going to be a close battle between 4 drivers. Joshua Rowledge, Joshua McLean, and Kean Shields, I think will be. Also Ivan Lomliev will be a close battle between those 4.
Lomliev's been really good all weekend. He took 2 out of the 3 races thus far, and I think he's one definitely to keep an eye on. But Josh McLean in particular has really stepped up to the plate and proven himself to be speedy and competitive.
He's going very well on track. He's going very fast.
And of course, being a Strawberry Racing driver, I'm guessing that you're looking out for the driver out in front of the championship standings, and that, of course, is Josh Rowledge, who's been really strong over the first 2 meetings and really consistent here.
Yeah, I've been talking to him quite a bit this weekend. He's been really fast on track. He's been really good off track, talking to me. And also, I just rooted him on for the win.
He seems to have a really good bit of confidence this weekend. I mean, over the last 2 meetings, he was always towards the front. And I think winning that final at Wilson Hill, it gave him some real confidence. But that's quite common for drivers. Once you get a good win in the bag, it really does help improve your driving.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been really confident, but I think that Wilton Mill wins really boosted it up.
So that's going to be one to watch. There's a lot of drivers wanting to make up for some lost time, in particular the Kato Motorsport drivers. They've not really been able to show what they can actually do. They've had a few incidents between them all. But this is the race where the likes of Harvey Riley, who had some great overtakes in the last one, Aaron Walker, who's been battling for position throughout this season, really does have the opportunity to come forward to the top 5. And of course, Dan Bolton, who was unlucky, got caught out in the last race, but he will have a chance to fight forward, and there's no doubting those 3 drivers have immense talent. But of course, we have to talk about Ivan Lomliev on that second row of the grid, having won as many races as he's won this weekend. He's got to be one of the drivers to keep an eye on. Also, Rashan Chikarimbo, I've been really impressed by how well he has started to move forward. It's difficult because he's been used to cadets when you're in the middle of the field, and it's difficult to run at the front when you're not used to doing so.
Yeah, he won't be used to running at the front because there's such a small grid in Mini X30, and it's a really hard grid in Miami. I mean, he's been doing very well in Mini so far, and he's just had an unlucky pre-final.
And of course, you are one of those drivers who is used to going from national level cadet into club racing and being at the front end. And it's difficult to make that sort of confidence and that energy come forward into the national level when it's so ultra close.
Yeah, I think if you're quite good in any class, clubs are really good to boost your confidence if you win them, and that boosts your confidence for the national races, which you sometimes will do well in.
Always good to know, Kai. Thanks for that. So we'll get the drivers out onto the circuit for their rolling lap. Josh McLean, Josh Rowledge on the front row. Ivan Lomliev and Rashan Chikarimbo on the second. Kean Shields and Jacob McComb on the third. From Jessica Edgar and Harvey Ryby. Then Oliver Duffel and Aaron Walker and Dan Bolton. 11 drivers, a very closely matched grid and a really interesting one. Holding them a long time into the rolling lap as well. What's the advantage from getting the grid formed up as early as possible? Is there a psychological gameplay you can make from that?
I mean, if you get gridded up as soon as possible, you can go really slow, which in the grid you can warm your tyres up if you're careful, which means you have more time to warm them up.
Always good to know. I never really understood the difference between the late start to form up and the early start, so good to get that one. Thanks, guys. So we'll get the drivers now out of the final turn. McLean and Rowledge, Lomley, Evan, Chigarimbo, Shields, McComb, Edgar, Ryby, Duffel, Walker, Bolton. The engine revs will rise, and let's race at Larkhall. Here we go. The last time of asking it. It's a cracking start from McLean. Lomliev gets up and over the curb as he tries to stop Russia. Chigarimbo coming through on the far side, but Kian Shields had a pretty lightning getaway as well. Local knowledge always counting in his favour if he can get a good kart together in the final. And as they come back up the back straight, that is Josh McLean in the lead. So from pole position, he has got an early door start, and that's Chigarimbo up to second place. Cracking start. Rowledge into third place. Fourth is Lomliev. Fifth is Shields. Sixth is McComb. Then it's Edgar, Ryby, Walker, Bolton, and Duffel. So a cracking start, and they're all locked together, the 11 of them. All in one long line. A great battle from here on in, guaranteed. Chigarimbo trying to stay close to McLean, who's got a cracking start to the race. If he can just hold on to this advantage, then it should be an easy victory. But this is Mini X30. It won't be so easy for him to hang on to that lead. As they come down to the hairpin at the end of the run out of the first few flyers once more. They'll come back up the hill, through the trees, and up through that right-hander. Going to be interesting to see what this extension that they're planning on building will do to the circuit. I'm really looking forward to seeing that if it happens. I know it's been used in the kart sim all weekend, but even on this very tight and twisty short circuit, it is really good racing as Lomliev tries to make a move on Rowledge. Rowledge is hoping that Lomliev will work with him to push him further forward, but Lomliev's not playing dice. Into the inside he goes, up to third position, and gets the place. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And that's a late lunge from Shields to get past Rowledge as well. Into turn one. Goodness me. Kian Shields utilising the inside grip and getting himself up into P4. So a really interesting race. But just as we've always seen in Mini X30, this is one of those classes where the pendulum can swing to or fro several times over the course of one race, never mind anything else. So the drivers will be battling for position with an awful lot of gusto and determination as they continue to battle. Chigarimbo going with McLean. Lomliev is through in the third position. Shields didn't make the move stick on Rowledge, so Rowledge hangs on to fourth. Then it's Jessica Edgar, looking much faster this time, I have to say. Having been the final winner at PF International, she was hoping to get her form a little higher, as Shields this time dives again on Rowledge. And this time, I think the move has been successful. 10 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock. A long, long way to go in this final, Kai, and still not really clear who's going to get the ultimate victory.
Yeah, it's a long final. Lots could happen in it.
Of course, with McLean and Chigarimbo so closely matched, there's only a handful of places on the circuit where Chigarimbo is going to be able to match McLean for sector pace.
Yeah, I think they're both kind of equal drivers. They're doing similar lap times, so it's going to be a hard overtake that Chigarimbo has to pull off.
Yeah, Chigarimbo's got to have to pull it out of the bag from somewhere. McLean is hanging on to it very nicely indeed as they come off the final turn. So McLean going well, Chigarimbo with him, Lomliev third, Shields is now fourth from Rowledge and Edgar. Jessica Edgar looks really up for the fight this time. We saw her in the last 3 races. She had reasonable pace, but it wasn't anything particularly threatening. This time, it's all changed. She is now starting to look a lot more aggressive in the braking zone, and that's where she's going to be able to make an overtaking move or two come off. And here she comes onto the back of Josh Rowledge, who's really struggling, it has to be said. But her inability to get past Rowledge is bringing Aaron Walker back into the fight. And the young man from Chester, Jacob McComb, is getting in there as well. Travels a good 3.5 hours to get here from Vickers Cross. As up the inside, that is a move from Aaron Walker on Jessica Edgar. So Walker is through in a P6. Now it's up to Walker to try and get Jessica Edgar to help him out and move forward towards Rowledge. But I have to say, Josh Rowledge, not the sort of pace we were expecting to see from him yet. He's really struggling. Fastest in the first sector of all, though, is the man who's just made the move, Aaron Walker. He is the fastest in the first sector. So Walker has suddenly got a little bit of motivation and is starting to move forward. Always good, it must feel, when the driver is having a really difficult weekend and all of a sudden you get into a race and the car just bites and you get that amazing amount of grip and the drive suddenly starts to come and it makes you feel like you're on top of the world. And the drivers must be starting to wonder, where on earth does Aaron Walker come from? It must be a massive confidence boost, Guy, when the car suddenly bites, when you've been struggling to get there all weekend.
Yeah, when you've been struggling to get power from the car and it suddenly is in the final, it's an amazing feeling. But obviously for Josh Rowledge, it looks like he's lacking power at the corner, so it must be a bit of a downer for him.
Yeah, he's really struggling to cope with it, and he's not able to stay with Kian Shields at the moment, so something they've changed on that kart has not really worked for Josh Rowledge, so there is a genuine consideration that he may well leave this round of the championship no longer in the points lead. Not that this is an official championship, of course, and there is no official championship for Mini X30 in Great Britain at national level, but they'll still be calculating the points in their mind, and they'll be racing for it in their own heads. Fastest lap of the race now, Ivan Lomliev has come up into third position, obviously, and is now on a 39.53. So Lomliev is doing his best to catch up with McLean, because from this point of view, you know, the two people who have won televised finals so far this year, Josh Rowledge is in 5th, and Jess Edgar is in 7th. So for the top 3 drivers, there's a brand new winner of the televised final on the offing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very equal grid in the Mini X30s, so there's lots that can happen without the drivers.
Really good to see them all with an equal chance to move forward and all taking those opportunities whenever they manage to machinate themselves. Bolton and Ryby getting a good move on Oliver Duffel to move up into 9th and 10th position, chasing down Jacob McComb. Fastest in the first sector, Josh McLean. He's trying to step away from the rest of the field as he now wants to assert himself at the lead. In the previous final, he took a great victory with some good battles. Chigarimbo's pace seems to be falling away now, and Lomliev is trying to close up on him. Now, this will be interesting. Lomliev's been the man on form all of yesterday. Today, it's a much tougher prospect because now he's got Josh McLean, who has obviously had his Weetabix this morning, got up with a lot of energy, and is now looking much, much faster. Kean Shields in 4th place, Rowledge in 5th, Walker 6th place from Edgar, McComb, Bolton, Ryby and Duffel. There's a lot of people scratching their heads at the moment as to just how Josh McLean has got this kind of pace. With 5 minutes and 40 on the clock, a second advantage over the rest, Kai. That's a big lead.
Yeah, Josh McLean is just pulling away, but I don't think he might be when Chigarimbo and Lomliev start working together like they are now.
That's true. Lomliev has started to get onto the tail of Rashan Chigarimbo. He's not fighting with him anymore. He's trying to work his magic to push him forward. And hopefully there's going to be a bit more time for them both to catch him up. 5 minutes and 15. Yeah, I think there's time to catch them. He's not a silly driver, Ivan Lomliev. He's going to think of the long game. He'll know that to work Rashan Chigarimbo a bit further forward and to get down the deficit to Josh McLean. For my money, there's still one of 6 drivers who could win this because McLean has got Chigarimbo and Lomliev closing them down. Shields has the local knowledge to keep them honest. And then there's also Josh Rowledge and Aaron Walker. Rowledge is not out of this yet. If he's looking after his tyres, then towards the end of the race, Rowledge could still come good. And Aaron Walker seems to have asserted himself in front of Jessica Edgar with some good driving. It's still very open as... Lomliev has got through. My apologies. I missed that. Lomliev is through in a 2nd place. So Lomliev has obviously decided, right, Rashan, you're not catching him fast enough. I'm going to get through. And he's done a 39.49 to prove the point. Half a second quicker than Chigarimbo. So Lomliev is now the fastest man on the track. Can he catch him? That's the real question.
Yeah, I think there's a long race ahead. So I think Lomliev will be able to clutch McLean and give him a bit of room for his money.
He's got a lot of work to do. It's a second at the moment, and that's a lot of time to make up in 4 minutes 10 plus a lap. But if anyone's going to be able to do it, it's the young man from London, Lomliev. So let's see him charging forward into that final hairpin as he comes out of that turn. He's chasing down Josh McLean, working very hard indeed at this phase of the race as Josh McLean is trying to put himself into a strong position. He needs to keep the faith and keep the focus, because Josh McLean has been working very hard all weekend. But there might just be a very large trophy going to Normanton Leheath tonight as he pushes the Fusion Motorsport cart. 1.2 seconds now clear of Ivan Lomliev, who has dropped Chigarimbo like a brick out of the side of the bath. Absolutely amazing. So it is going to be an interesting one for Lomliev. The field behind is starting to open up a bit, but I notice that the man who started to pick up the pace again is Josh Rowledge. He's so good at looking after tyres in these finals. Even if he fades away in terms of position, he seems to be the kind of driver who's good at playing the long game and keeping those tyres strong.
Yeah, I think at the start he was just keeping care of his tyres so they didn't last off at the end like the other drivers have just been working at the beginning. So I think Josh is going to have the most at the end of the race.
And in the hot conditions, you really need to look after the tyres, because if everybody else is pushing, then they're going to go off quite dramatically.
Yeah, if you don't look after the tyres in the hot weather, the tyres can easily scrub in and go really slow.
And that's when the whole race can change on a knife edge. Josh Rowledge trying to do that with Kean Shields at the moment, trying to close him down. But the Flying Scotsman knows this place so well, grew up on this circuit very, very literally. And he's doing an absolutely cracking job in there in 4th position. still new to the class. Let's not forget that. Kian Shields did not do the first 2 rounds of the championship. So to see him here in 4th place is just indicative of his amazing season that he's having in 2018. And it has been a strong year for him out in Europe. He was 3rd position at the Miami Valencia Winter Cup. And he's been doing a great job in the European X30 Series as well, out in Salisbury. He'll be there in 2 weeks' time as well at Marienborg. Going to be interesting to see how he goes there. I'll let you know when I get back to the Super 1 paddock next time out. But Lomliev is chipping away a little bit at McLean now. The gap was 1.02. It's now 0.93. Lomliev is getting there. He's taking a 1/10 of a second or so every lap. He needs to find a little bit more, but all it takes is one fell swoop from McLean, and if he's pushing him, then the pressure is going to get to Josh.
Yeah, he needs to take a bit more off McLean when he's catching them throughout each lap time. But if McLean makes a mistake, that's Lomliev's race.
So if Ivan Lomliev is just continuing on at this sort of pace, he will have an opportunity to close up on Josh McLean. It's going to take some time, but he is pushing his magic there. Rashan Chigarimbo still in 3rd place. Kian Shields looking like he's starting to catch him. Josh Roundage has eased off a little bit again, but I wonder if once more that's just a little bit of protection of the tyres there, just to keep him a little bit honest. A 39.85 makes him the slowest of the top 5 there on that lap. Kian Shields does a personal best, by the way, a 39.59 to get closer to Rashan Chigarimbo. He hasn't given up then on his dreams at the podium, but we are fast running out of time. There is a minute to go plus 1 lap. So for my mathematics, that means we've only got 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Lomliev hasn't given up. The gap's come down to 0.8 of a second. But looking at how much time we have left, I have a feeling that unless McLean really gets it wrong, he's going to run out of time.
Yeah, it looks like it might be McLean's race from this perspective, but you never know what happens in the last lap.
It's very true. Super 1 is Super 1. Do not think the race is won until that checkered flag comes out. And with 35 seconds plus 1 lap left on the board, I wasn't sure exactly when McLean came across the line, because if he comes across the line with 1 second to go, he's going to have 2 laps to do, not 1 lap to do, and that's going to be critical with Lomliev chasing him down. And look, Lomliev's really getting close now. He's still going to run out of time for my money, but if there's 1 more lap, then Lomliev, that's all the motivation he needs. So he's pushing McLean as fast as he goes, but we'll have to see how many seconds there are when he comes across the line to see how many laps we've got. 5, 4, 3. There is going to be 2 laps to go. That's a big turn up for the books. So Lomliev really has a chance. The gap's come down to 0.3 of a second. Now it really is a 2-cart battle. Lomliev has worked his magic beautifully, as has Kian Shields onto the back of Rashan Chigarimbo. So that's that's all of the podium positions up for grabs now, because Lomliev has reeled in Josh McLean, and surely he's going to get a chance on the last lap. He's right in there with McLean. McLean is doing his best to get away. Shields is on the back of Chigarimbo. 1st is up for grabs. 3rd is up for grabs. They are battling away for position, and Aaron Walker has gone into 6th position, pulling away now from Edgar. As I thought for a moment he'd got 5th, but then I spotted Rowledge still there in position. Lomliev, 1 more lap, and he knows it. So too does Kian Shields. Have they got what it takes to overhaul? This is going to be a really interesting battle as they try and find a little bit more speed. They will have to work so hard to get there on this last lap. It will be a tough battle. They will have to be so calculated. But now is their opportune moment. Here comes Lomliev. Wait for a moment. McLean's going to defend to the inside. Lomliev's running out of corners to get this move done. And Shields has got Chigarimbo. Shields has got Chigarimbo for 3rd. And here comes Lomliev on the exit of 6 into 7. He's going to put his foot in. McLean's gone over the grass. Lomliev down the inside. Still keeps it in position. Who's going to get there to the flag? It's Lomliev. Lomliev punches his hand in the air. He's delighted with it. Lomliev wins it. Oh my word, he came from so far back, and McLean gets the 2nd position. Kian Shields is 3rd after a sensational drive. Rashan Chigarimbo, 4th position, from Rowledge, Walker, Edgar, McComb, Bolton, Ryby and Duffel. Well, you were absolutely right, Kai. You said anything can happen on the last lap, and Ivan Lomliev saw a chance and went for it.
Yeah. Also, I think that Rowledge should have attacked on the 1st lap. I think he's made a mistake preserving his tyres, because it hasn't helped him at all.
It's a shame. He now drops to 5th position, but of course if there's any penalties to hand out, then he may well get a couple more points. But look at Lomliev. Lomliev is absolutely elated. That is such a good feeling from his point of view, and he is absolutely ecstatic. And that's one that's going to be remembered for a long, long time, even if he gets a bit of a penalty for that one, which I'm hoping he doesn't. That looked like a clean fight to me. I didn't see anything wrong in that myself, but then I'm not race officials. I can't make that call. But fair play to Ivan Lomliev, a really intensive battle. That was really good to watch, actually, Kai. I know why you want to get into this class now.
Yeah, it's an amazing pack that you have. There's very talented drivers moving up into Mini X. The grid's getting bigger every race and just more talent moving in.
Very good point. So hopefully that's the class that's really going to be on the up. And we are not done yet, of course, with the younger brigade, because, of course, we move on from the Mini X30s on to the next class, which is the Army Cadets, something this man here knows an awful lot about.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Well, this is getting interesting. We've got race after race of genuinely gold star quality. And speaking of gold star quality, now we've got the Army Cadets with a very interesting front row of the grid. Arvid Lindblad and Max Dodds, the Oliver Roden Motorsport cars, new teammates for this week with Max Dodds moving into the team. And it seems to have been an absolute stroke of genius to move in with the runner-up from last year. He was third last season, of course, in the championship. And Arvid Lindblad and Max Dodds have been an absolute united front all weekend. Only really racing on the last lap in the last encounter, but great to see them push away. That does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that Fusion Motorsport have given up, because Will McIntyre is right there in third position. He is a final winner, don't forget, having done so last time out at Wilton Mill. And then, of course, Harry Junior Burgoyne, the local man, finds himself right up on the second row of the grid. And that must be a real buzz when it's your home circuit, you're doing a grand job, and you're at the front. You must get a real confidence booster.
Yeah, I think if you haven't been doing the best throughout the championship, you go to your home track, you do amazing. It's an amazing feeling. Obviously, we're going to be keeping our eyes on the front runners, but I'm going to be keeping my eye on Sanson.
Yeah, Sancho is one to watch, actually, because he's there in fifth position on that inside line as well. So it's good to pick him up. He will be one to reckon with, and considering how he's worked his way through the field over the course of the 3 days, from Friday testing to now, genuinely does have a good chance of going for that podium. And alongside him, we've got Brandon Carr, another of the drivers in the Olive. You never know, you could get all three of them on the podium, but Brandon Carr keeps his magic going. Aidan Needs is one to keep an eye on, so too his brilliant teammate Leo Robinson. Two of the guys at Fusion, very strong. And inside the top 10, we've got Maximus Hall, the Gladiator, alongside MJ Canini, the South African from Strawberry Racing, which, I have to say, he's looking a different driver after that topple at Wilton Mill. He's come back stronger.
Yeah, he has came back really strong. I think he's realised his mistake and he's came back strong.
He seems to be developing really quickly, which is nice to see. I mean, a lot of drivers can go one way or the other when they have a big accident like that. Some people, it knocks their confidence. Others, it just motivates them to raise their game. And I think it's definitely the latter for MJ Canini. He looks a much stronger, much tougher, much more disciplined driver. And that's good to see. In there on the grid with them, we've got Charlie Rippon and Ashton Hodgson on the 6th row. Vinnie Phillips and Ella Stevens, 14th place. That's so good for a rookie. She's doing a grand job. I know she's already a national champion, having won the Birrell Cadet UK Series last year. But 14th position in this grid in your third meeting, that's really impressive, guy.
Yeah, if you're a rookie in Super 1 and you're mostly aiming for top 20, never mind top 15.
Really good for Ella Stevens to be there in 14th place. Hopefully there's more where that came from. Luke Sindler and Freddie Slater recovering there on the 6th row. Expect him to charge forward. He will not finish as low as the 6th row. As the 8th row, sorry, if he's got anything to say about it. Ian Aguilera, the Mexican, and Oliver Wright for Fusion Motorsport, known to his mates as Pineapple. William Go's been doing a good job. The Filipino, he was at the back of the field all the way through the Friday practice, but now he's in amongst the midfield pack, and he's getting some good overtaking moves in there. Colin Brown's been working his genius with him, and he is really starting to clock on. This is a really, really good drive from William Go. Hopefully there's a few more places for him to make up. Alongside the grandson of the rallying legend Roger Clark, it is Archie Clark, who is just as talented and is really starting to get his confidence up. A really good race last time, pulled off some good overtaking moves there. And then we've got Luke Watts. Now he's one to watch as well, because he'll be fighting his way back from that 11th row of the grid. He will not be as low as that by the finish.
No, he's going to be fighting through the pack, same as Freddie Slater. they're going to be trying to do a Barnard when he started at Larkhall.
That's very true. Well remembered, actually. Then we have Alex O'Grady, Jack Younger, Bart Harrison, and filling up the back, we've got Max Barrett and Harley Keeble, the other of the Oliver Rowland Motorsport drivers. Caught out, really, Harley Keeble, by his faulty transponder. But again, he's not going to be finishing in last place if he's got anything to say about it. So the IAMI cadets are about to head out onto the circuit. And when we are ready to go racing, they will be sent out, which will be any second now. And the drivers will be pushing very, very hard indeed around this circuit as they continue on in the Tuto Money Super 1 British Karting Championships. It's been a great weekend for them, and the battle will be very intense. But it's hard to say. We've had a couple of wins from Arvid Lindblad yesterday, and then a win from him again today. Can he make it 4 out of 4, or is Max Dodds just going to find something extra?
I think it's going to be close between the two, and the podium's going to be up for grabs for loads of drivers.
That's true. There's a good 6 or 7 drivers behind those two who could get that third step of the podium. I mean, you've got to look at McIntyre, Shaw, Carr, Burgoyne on the second row can't be underestimated. Aidan Neat is looking very strong these days. Maximus Hall could well put on a really good surprise in this one. And, of course, you've got Leo Robertson, MJ Canini. Anything can happen in that first couple of corners. So they will be fighting, and it will be a really intense battle. 12 minutes on the clock, and there'll be a great race in front of us as the drivers are set to head out onto the circuit. We're just a little bit delayed in terms of time, but now I think we are getting closer to being ready for the drivers to head out onto the circuit. I think there's a little bit of work to do around the circuit. I think there's a couple of things going on in the pit lane, which is just holding us up a little bit. But bone dry circuit, beautiful conditions here at Larkhall, and very, very sunny. There's a couple of karts needing to warm up in the cadet paddock, and that's why we have had to have a little bit of a pause. But that just keeps the juices flowing. When there's a little bit of a delay in this point, Kai, it must be really, really difficult because you're in the car, particularly in these conditions. You've got your helmet on, your gloves on, your suit on, your boots on. You must be sweltering. How hard is it to keep concentrated at that point?
It's really hard to keep concentrating, but you just really have to try and keep your head in the right place.
So how do you train yourself to focus your mind in those situations? I mean, let's not forget you guys are between the ages of 8 and 13. What sort of work are you guys doing to make sure you keep on top of that sort of focus?
Long times on the sim, because most of the time you just have to focus to put in the lap times to try and get to the front of the race.
So spending a long time on that kart sim is actually really helping your race game?
Yeah, it's really helping with tracks that I've never been to before. Like Larkhall, I hadn't been there in ages. I've jumped on the sim and I actually done pretty well.
Very good point, actually. For those who are interested, the kart sim is in the CAF. Do go and spend some time on it because it does help and it does get very addictive. Okay, it's a big investment, but it is definitely helping a lot of drivers up and down the paddock. Just speak to Kai Bachini. It's helping him out big style, both on and off the circuit. So hopefully we will be getting underway for the IAMI Cadets second final, the televised race as it was, very shortly indeed. The tension is already quite high in the IAMI Cadet paddock with the likes of Arvid Lindblad and Maxwell Dodds fighting from the front with Will McIntyre and Harry Jr. Burgoyne alongside him. And this will be an interesting one because, of course, we've got drivers from all over Great Britain competing in this championship. But for the two guys up at the sharp end, it will be interesting. The guy from Virginia Water, Arvid Lindblad, and the man from Harrogate, Maxwell Dodds, sharing the front row for Oliver Rowland Motorsport. I'll bet wherever Oliver Rowland is, the Williams Junior driver must be absolutely loving this right now.
Yeah, if he's watching live timing or listening to the commentary, he'll be really loving the RM boys on the front row. And if they get it their way, then they're just going to push the whole race until the last couple of laps.
And if you are listening, Oliver Rowland, do whatever you can to get Sergei Sorokin to move over. You deserve that F1 drive, mate. Just saying. Anyway, in there as well, we've got Will McIntyre for Woburn Sands in third position on the grid. But the attention in this race, particularly considering how well he's been going, is the man from Falkirk, Harry Burgoyne Jr. Great to see him there on the second row of the grid and keeping the Saltire flying high. Here we go. Now the karts are being released out onto the circuit. So it's time to get the televised final, the IAMI Cadet final race, underway. And this one will be an exceptionally close race. There are lots of great talent here, lots of great drivers, and bone dry conditions. No threat of rain at all. And that's really, really good because I guess that focuses your mind and it gives you one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, if it's really dry, you don't have to worry about sliding off unless you push too hard into a corner. But it's just amazing. It's nice and warm, grippy. It's just amazing for racing in.
And of course, this warm-up procedure, as you were telling us earlier, you're just trying to get that fine balance between, tyre temperatures, they don't want to overheat. I suppose it's important to work the brakes a little bit as well, because you need to have good faith in those the way round.
Yeah, you need to warm up the brakes quite a lot on the warming up laps, because you need to, most of the time, you rely on the brakes round the corner.
And particularly when there's a couple of really big stops in the final turn, and then up towards turn 3, the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit. So they'll have to keep an eye on that one. So here we go. Out of the final turn, Lindblad, Dodds, McIntyre, Burgoyne, Shaw and Carr. Let's race it. And straight into second place has come McIntyre. That's an important start. He needed to split the Oliver Rowland Motorsport cards as quickly as possible, and he has done so. So Lindblad leading from McIntyre and Dodds. Looked to me like Sam Shaw was having a very good start indeed up on the curbs. We watch them as they come up the hill. And who's that in the lead? It's Lindblad, then it's McIntyre and Dodds. And is that Shaw in 4th position? And he's made his way there. And yes, he has. Great start from Sam Shaw. He is there in the P4 in the number 9. Then it's the 57. Where's Aidan Neat come from? Goodness me. Aidan Neat has shot forward into 5th place. Terrific start. And he's there in front of Brandon Carr. So a really good start. Harry Junior Burgoyne's been a little bit muscled up. Look at Freddie Slater. He is charging through the field. So he is absolutely on it. The O-Plate and championship leader Freddie Slater is not taking defeat lying down. My goodness, Freddie Slater has gone from 16th on the grid to 8th in 1 lap. Ayrton Senna, eat your heart out. He is one tough cookie. Bart Harrison given the warning flag on that first lap. And now to second has come Dodds. So Lindblad and Dodds, here we go again. It's the Oliver Rowland Motorsport Roadshow as Lindblad and Dodds try and stretch out the gap from McIntyre and Shaw. But Shaw, this time, in particular, Sam Shaw looks really fired up.
Yeah, he's definitely wanting to get past McIntyre, wants to get that podium, wants to win it.
He's doing an absolutely terrific job, to be fair, in 4th place, and he looks faster than he's been all weekend. Now we've got Freddie Slater, having moved his way to 7th place now, in front of Rippin and Burgoyne. Phillips in 10th, then it's Canini, Hall, Watts. Oh, we've got a spin, that's Robinson. That is Leo Robinson has gone off there in the final turn, and I think Luke Sindler has had an off elsewhere around the circuit as well. So both of those guys not having the greatest of moments. In fact, Robinson and Sindler off together in that final sector. They both continue. But it's now Lindblad and Dodds. Here we go again. 1st and 2nd. This is exactly what they wanted to do. This is why Dodds moved teams to work with Arvid Lindblad. And the game plan is working beautifully as these two continue to push each other around the circuit. However, Freddie Slater's not done yet as Brandon Carr makes the move on the inside of Aidan Neat to get into P5. That's 3 Ollie Rowland Motorsport cards in the mix. Freddie Slater splits them both into the first corner. Freddie Slater trying to get up into P5. I'll tell you what, if he's made that move stick, that really is world class. Let's see as they come out of the trees down the back end of the circuit. Is that Freddie Slater? No way it is. Freddie Slater, I think that is in P5. So the O-Plate is there. Yep, he's done it. I don't know how, but he's done it. Freddie Slater, P5. 25 is Brandon Carr. Then it is Aidan Neat, Charlie Rippin, Phillips, Burgoyne, Watts, Hall, Canini, Hodgson, Stevens, and Ian Aguilera. So the 2 Oliver Rowland Motorsport cars still there together. Now, Freddie Slater's got into 5th position, but he's got to get cooperation from Brandon Carr if he wants to move forward, because there's a big deficit to 3rd and 4th place. His race and whether he's going to get on the podium is now dependent on what Brandon Carr does.
Yeah, he's had an amazing first 2 laps, 11 places in 2 laps. That is just outstanding.
Now, that's a world-class drive from Freddie Slater. He's worked his magic beautifully there. But now, here we go. Dodds has caught Lindblad. Is he making the overtake? Of course he's not. They've got a big gap to build yet. So they're going to take their time over this one. Edge away from the rest of the field. And they're not going to pull off the teammates colliding with each other like we saw at Little Rissington with the Fusion teammates a couple of years ago. These guys are going to stretch away, and they will work together in fine form. This is beautiful from their point of view. So Lindblad and Dodds getting away at the front. Then it is Will McIntyre. A little gap between him and Shaw. Then it's Slater, Carr, Neat, Rippin, Phillips and Burgoyne. So Luke Watts in 11th place. A really good start to proceedings from their point of view. Max Hall is in 12th from MJ Canini. Hodgson, Ella Stevens. Again, she seems to really love the Larkhall circuit. Going very well here. Well in the top half of the field. Then it's Aguilera, Keeble, Younger, Clark, Barrow, Wright, Harrison. And then it is William Goh, Alex O'Grady. And then the recovering Robinson and Sintler. So Slater has dropped Brandon Carr, so he clearly doesn't think he's going to get any assistance from him. I'm not surprised, because that's an Oliver Rowland Motorsport car he's asking for assistance from when there's 2 more he's trying to catch. So now he's got to rely on his own ability around this circuit to try and close up on Sam Shaw. The championship leader in the Super 1 British Esports Championship for cadets is now in 4th position in the actual Super 1 IAMI cadet class. So he's really taken some confidence. And this is a great run for Sam Shaw, because he's been quick in the first 2 rounds, but this is the first time he's looked like he can get the podium.
Yeah, he's been very fast in the first 2 rounds, but he's just been unlucky on track positioning. I mean, there's been people slower in front of him, but he's just not been able to get past them.
However, today, that's not going to be a problem as far as he's concerned. He got a cracking start into the first corner. Ella Stevens is getting very racy there with Ashton Hodgson as they battle over way for 14th place. Ella Stevens needs to be careful. A little bit too much contact could dislodge the front fairing, so she's got to be careful as MJ Canini makes a brilliant move on the inside there of Max Hall. Hall has got through, and now so too is MJ Canini on on Harry Junior Burgoyne. And then it looked to me like Maximus Hall was battling away with someone else up the road. Luke Watts has had an absolutely amazing drive as well. He's up to 10th position from 21st on the grid. Luke Watts has had an absolute rip-roaring race.
Yeah, it was unlucky him coming off in the pre-final, but he made up some places in the final. He'd done his best, and he's came back, made up 10 places.
Yeah, really, really good work from Luke Watts. He's now in 10th position, so he's charging forward. And still these two, Lindblad and Dodds, working very well together out front to get away. The gap is already 2 seconds back to Will McIntyre. This is a race-winning strategy. How is Slater in front of Shaw? Where did he do that? Second sector was best of everybody. 0.2 of a second nearly faster than the guys in the lead. But Freddie Slater has already got past Sam Shaw. And now he's got Will McIntyre in front of him. So he's not going to overtake him. He's going to work his magic to push forward. They've got 5.5 minutes and they've only got 2 seconds deficit. This is going to be Oliver Rowland Motorsport versus Fusion Motorsport in tandem. This is going to be a great race.
Yeah. Freddie's going to think about it, which he probably will, to push with Will to catch the ORM. That's it.
Well, at the moment, it makes sense for Freddie to work with Will because he's slightly quicker than him. So there are places on the circuit when he can really help to move him forward. And then all 4 of them should be battling for the victory by the finish. But it will be tough, and they know how much hard work they've got to do to get there. Aidan Neat, meanwhile, has closed up on Brandon Carr. Charlie Rippin is 9th. Luke Watts is in 10th place now. Great race from him. Almost as impressive as Freddie Slater's. Then it is Maximus Hall. Harry Junior Burgoyne has slipped to 12th, but he's still got a good chance of the top 10. MJ Canini, Ashton Hodgson, Ella Stevens, Harley Keeble, then Ian Aguilera, Max Barrow, Archie Clark, and Bart Harrison round out the 20. Now, Sam Shaw hasn't really got anybody to work with at the moment, but so considering that he's now sat on the bumper of these 2 Fusion Motorsport karts, he's doing a great job to keep up with them, to be fair, and that's full credit to him. Lindblad and Dodds still working hard, and the gap between them, the Oliver Rowland Motorsport karts and the Fusion karts, is actually growing. Slater's got through past Will McIntyre. He thinks maybe I don't need to work with Will, maybe I can just charge after them on my own, but that's a big gap with 4 minutes and a lap left.
With that little overtake, it's helping Sam because now Sam's in their slipstream, so he can push through with him.
Yeah, there's a good chance actually for Sam Shaw to move up from 5th to 4th, and he is going to give it an opportunity. But with Freddie Slater now through into 3rd place, he's going to need some assistance from Will McIntyre. But that's a big gap. If you look at it, out through the second hairpin into the 3rd sector, Lindblad and Dodds have done exactly what they set out to do. They have got so good at this, working together. And I think even the 2 Fusion karts, Slater and McIntyre, I mean, it's an amazing run from 16th to 3rd from Freddie Slater. That is astonishing. And he saved his championship bacon a little bit with that drive. But it's very, very tough to consider that he can make up a 2.6 second deficit with 3 minutes and 20 plus 1 lap on the clock. But hey, Freddie Slater, a lot of people might have said, you can't go from 16th to 3rd in 6 laps, are you mental? Well, you're not Freddie Slater, clearly. He's an absolutely cracking race driver, and he's put himself into 3rd position on sheer merit. So a good run this from Slater in the O-plate in 3rd position. And as he charges after Lindblad and Dodds, he is working beautifully in the car. I genuinely wouldn't have thought. I know how good Freddie Slater is. We know he is a championship contender, and we know that he is the odds-on favourite for many, many people in this paddock. But the man from Edstone has really turned out the wick in this one, up to 13 places made up into 3rd. The gap is 2.5, so he has chipped away at it a little bit, but he is running out of time.
Yeah, he's running out of time, 2 minutes 30. So let's see if he can pull off the 2.5 second gap. That will probably only come down if the front two make a mistake, but let's see what he can do.
Yeah, Slater is one of the best in this paddock. Some may even say the best. However, in terms of team gamesmanship, there are none better than Lindblad and Dodds. Look at it, they have just made mincemeat of the rest of the opposition up front. And Lindblad and Dodds are now just working together. No pressure, out in front, just continuing this gap as they come through at the end of this lap. They are a tenth of a second apart. Freddie Slater is actually not closing in at the moment, 2.56 now. So he's lost 0.06 of a second to them on that lap. So it's stalemate. I mean, third position is very impressive from Slater, and that's definitely going to help the championship standings. But you do reckon it's going to be one of the ORM karts. Lindblad got the first one. Dodds was second in the first one. Maybe they'll swap positions. You never know. It could be an interesting battle.
Yeah, if I was Freddie Slater, I'd be very happy with third because he came from 16th and he's made up 13 places. I mean, who wouldn't be happy with that?
Absolutely. So he's there in third place. And, of course, if anything does happen to the two guys up front, he is in the box seat to pick up the victory. So he needs to be very careful that he doesn't get into the wars with anybody else. But he's going too fast to do that at the moment. Meanwhile, further back, the Fusions that are the rookie brigade are having a great scrap. The 77, Bart Harrison, makes the move as Archie Clark and Oliver Wright are in there as well with Max Barrow, the 15. So Barrow has slotted onto the back of the 77 of Bart Harrison, who's just gone through. Then it's Clark, Wright and Robinson as they all scrap away for 20th position. Looks to me as though Robinson has got through into 20th for the moment, ahead of Archie Clark and the Pineapple, Oliver Wright. So there's still a lot of great racing to be had in the tail end of the field. And that's the thing. You want to keep racing no matter where you are in position. If you're at the front of your queue, we keep saying it, then that is really, really rewarding. Sam Shaw in 5th position behind the Fusion karts of Slater and McIntyre. Brandon Carr 6th. Aidan Neat 7th. Vinnie Phillips in 8th place. Luke Watts, it's made up 12 places as well. So an absolutely great drive this from Luke Watts.
Yeah, Luke Watts is doing amazing, but also it doesn't look like Freddie Slater is going to catch within 2 laps. And about the being at the front of the queue, even if it's for 20th, it's an amazing feeling when you're at the front of the pack when you've been battling the whole race.
And when you cross that finish line and you've got 5 or 6 cars that you've been scrapping with for the last 5 minutes and you're at the front, that must be a really rewarding moment. We're about to go into the final lap, and this will be the lap that these two will battle for position. Dodds is already having a think about Lindblad. Lindblad looks back just to see where Freddie Slater is. But now they will go to battle on the last lap. They've worked beautifully. They've pulled out a gap of 2.5 seconds. Last lap. Here we go. Who's going to get the victory? Lindblad or Dodds? Now the team order is finished. They've got that gap of 2 seconds. Well, it's 2.1 actually now, because that little bit of a jostle has cost them 0.4 of a second. They can't afford to battle too much, but there is still a good chance of a 1-2 finish between these two karts. We'll see how they battle on the far side of the circuit. Dodds is having a look at Lindblad. Lindblad defending well. Into the right-hander they come. Back into sight. Lindblad covering well on Max Dodds. Dodds is going to try and make the move. Lindblad defends to the inside. Dodds will cut back. Freddie Slater's not given up, but I'm not sure he's going to get there. So Dodds will have an opportunity to go for Lindblad. He settles himself back in position, and I think Lindblad is going to get this one. Dodds will come from a bit of a way back, but it's Lindblad for the win. Dodds for second. Slater for third. Brilliant race from the two guys up front. Arvid Lindblad gets the win. Dodds in second. Great championship points from both of them to close up on Slater in the points gap. That is a really impressive weekend from the Ollie Rowland Motorsport boys. Will McIntyre in 4th, Sam Shaw in 5th, 6th for Brandon Carr, 7th Aidan Neat, and Kai Bachini beside me. I have to say, Lindblad and Dodds have just opened up this championship for the taking. A bad score in the last race for Slater, a comeback to third, but 2 wins and 2 seconds between them. This championship's really heating up.
If I was predicting the race, I never could have predicted this finish. Full credit to Slater for coming from 16th to 3rd, but the first two boys did enjoy that trophy.
I'm only sorry that at the next round of the championship you won't be joining me because you'll be on the grid and you'll be trying to work your way through. Can we see you in the top 10 next time, Kai?
Hopefully.
Good man. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
You've been an absolute superstar, Kai. Thank you very much indeed. And so we will return back to the action from the Super Ones. Here's a full rundown of the order. Lindblad and Dodds, Slater and McIntyre, Sam Shaw and Brandon Carr, Aidan Neat in 7th place from Vinnie Phillips, Luke Watts in 9th position. Great drive from him. And rounding out the top 10 is Charlie Rippin. then Harry Junior Burgoyne, Max Hall, Ashton Hodgson, MJ Canini, Ella Stevens 15th place. What a drive from her. Harley Keeble, a great comeback to 16th. He made up 10 places as well. Ian Aguilera, Robinson, and then the rest of the field through in position. A really exciting battle, but we're going to get straight into the action again for the Junior TKM.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Straight into the action for the Junior TKM then, as Abby Pulling and Oliver Richardson take up the front row of the grid, with Spencer Stevenson and Daniel Butterworth on the second row, Dan McKeown and Zach Taylor, Louis Harvey and Zach Oates from Connor Kearney and Liam Hurrell, Ethan Newsham and Dominic Kilmister with William Orton, Archie Strong, Joe Harrison, Harry Yardley Rose, Jensen Davis, Max Davies, Ben Watson, Morgan Kidd and Aston Wigley in the field. This one's going to be a really interesting race as well, because so far, excuse me, I'm still recovering from the IRB today. We've had a great battle from Abby Pulling, and she has won 3 races out of 3 so far this weekend. But this one's going to be a harder one to hang on to, with everybody behind her really fired up. Here we go, and it's a clean start straight away. Pulling has got teammate Stevenson going with her. So the 2 Talco racing carts have gone straight through into the lead of the contest. Really, really good start from them as they push forward, but an amazing run to the first corner as Pulling and Stevenson have broken into the front end of the field, and now we wait for them to come back into sight. Pulling and Stevenson well clear. Third position, that looks like Louis Harvey's made a terrific start, and he's there in P3. So a really, really awesome getaway from Harvey, with Richardson and Butterworth in close behind. Then Dan McKeown in P6, 7th place. That looks like the 20 moving forward, is it? I couldn't quite see who that was in position. That might well be the 68 of Connor Kearney, tucked up behind the... I'll try to check who it is when they come through. It's Ethan Newsham. That's why I was a bit confused, because Newsham up 4 places. Beautiful start from Ethan Newsham as he has moved up to 7th place. Then it's Kearney, Oates, Orton, Harrison, Taylor, Davis, Hurrell, Kilmister, Yardley Rose, Strong, Watson, Wigley, Davies and Morgan Kidd. A warning flag has gone out to the 75. That is Dan McKeown. I didn't see what he did, but I didn't see anything that I would have given a warning flag for. But we'll just have to see what happens as a result of it all. Great battle for Abby Pulling and Spencer Stevenson, who are doing the Oliver Rowland Motorsport Tribute Band. They are getting away out in front for Talco Racing in 1st and 2nd place, and they are disappearing from the fray. Oliver Richardson trying to catch them. Butterworth in 4th from McKeown, Harvey, Newsham, Oates, Kearney, Will Orton, Taylor, Harrison, Hurrell, Davis, Kilmister, Yardley Rose, Watson, Strong, Davies and Morgan Kidd, with Aston Wigley in there as well. But a really, really tense fight. Fastest in the first sector, Oliver Richardson, in his desperate bid to close up on the 2 Talco racing carts. Pulling and Stevenson. Abby Pulling, having had 2 weekends out in the Ginetta Junior Championships on the Toka package, came back to this to defend her crown in Junior TKM at the Super 1 British Karting Championships. She loves this paddock, she loves this sport, and she has so much speed out in the lead here from Spencer Stevenson, her new teammate, a rookie to the class, but great to see him working so well in the Talco Racing team. Fastest of all, Oliver Richardson on a 40.36. Fastest in the first sector too. Oates is the fastest in the second sector. Butterworth is fastest of all in the third sector. So it's still very even, still very close, and we're not quite sure who's going to get the victory yet. Pulling and Stevenson have the advantage, but we've seen that happen before in this class, where those 2 have been out in front and it's all changed hands. There's a great squabble going on further back, as that's a bold move from Max Davies to get onto the inside of Joe Harrison and makes the move stick. Very good overtaking there. And Morgan Kidd has started to make up overtaking moves as well. She's made up 4 places, so clearly her confidence has risen sky high again. Aston Wigley's starting to make up progress as well. Wigley's in there having a great battle with the drivers further back. Goodness me, Archie Strong and Harry Yardley Rose very, very close to each other there as they came through turn 1. That could have ended in tears, but out in front it is still Abby Pulling from Spencer Stevenson. Talco Racing 1 and 2. Then it is Oliver Richardson, Dan Butterworth, Dan McKeown, Zach Oates and Louis Harvey from Ethan Newsham, Connor Kearney and William Orton. Great comeback drive this from Will Orton for the Sam Jenkins Motorsport team. They'll be very happy with his drive. He's getting much more up the road So the drivers come through, 8.5 plus 1 lap on the clock for the junior TKMs. A really tough race from these guys, and they're pushing incredibly hard. We've got Pulling, Stevenson, Richardson, Butterworth, McKeown, Oates, Harvey, Kearney, Newsham, Orton and Taylor, with Kilmister now to 12th place. Hurrell 13th from Jensen Davies, Max Davies and Morgan Kidd, who's making up some good progress. So Pulling and Stevenson. Then it is Oliver Richardson. We've got Dan Butterworth in there in P4. McKeown is 5th. 6th is the number 45 of Zach Oates. A warning flag going out to the 58. That's Aston Wigley. Not quite sure what's going on there. As Morgan Kidd has made up another place. She's got past Joe Harrison this time. So up from 21st on the grid to 16th. Morgan Kidd doing a great job here, considering she had a nasty prang into the wall at the final corner in the Heat 1 yesterday. Her comeback has been absolutely brilliant. Great to see her full of motivation and determination. And Morgan Kidd, well, as a rookie, she's doing a great job. Give her a couple of years, she'll be just like Abby Pulling at the front, dominating. 3 wins out of 3 thus far for Pulling. Are there going to be any more? Oh, that was a lovely move from the battle in there with the Sam Jenkins Motorsport drivers as they battle their way through. That's through another place each there. As now we've got Connor Kearney. Now we've got Ethan Newsham and Will Orton making up a place or two. So Dominic Kilmister and William Orton, have both got through. 10th and 11th places there. So Kilmister and Orton, teammates at SJM, are doing a fantastic job. Now, Pulling and Stevenson are being caught by Oliver Richardson. Richardson is gaining ground, so it's no longer a 2-horse race. It's a 3-horse race. Oliver Richardson's been very patient, chipping away at their gap, little by little. He's taking ground, as Oasis would say, and into the final hairpin. Stevenson still putting Pulling under pressure, but Richardson doing very well, closing up that gap and chipping away. Butterworth in 4th position. McKeown, Oates, Kearney, Louis Harvey and Ethan Newsham. Kilmister's got Taylor, Hurrell and Orton. So Orton losing a couple of places on that lap. Davis and Davies, Kidd, Yardley Rose, Harrison, Watson, Strong and Wigley. So still a little bit of a battle between these 3. And Richardson split them. Pulling's down to 3rd. This has happened so many times this weekend. Pulling is the one that's had to give over. So Stevenson is through into the lead. Richardson is through in a 2nd. And Pulling is 3rd. But every time this has happened, Pulling has fought her way back to the lead. So Stevenson out in front, Richardson 2nd, Pulling 3rd. Butterworth is dangerously close in 4th on the gold cart. Then it's a battle for 5th between McKeown and Oates. Kearney, Harvey and Newsham are scrapping away for 9th. 10th is Kilmister. Then Taylor, Hurrell, Orton. Kidd is up to 14th now. She's doing a cracking good job. Still she moves her way forward, and still she is making good progress. Really exciting stuff from Morgan Kidd. Now, the leaders come through once more. Stevenson has Richardson breathing down the neck. A little bit of a mistake from Richardson as he closes up on Stevenson, and that's put Pulling right underneath him. So Stevenson leads. Richardson 2nd. Pulling 3rd. Richardson, I think he was wanting to make the move on Stevenson there because Pulling is giving him the hurry up. So Abby Pulling's not panicking. She knows where she can make up the time. She knows where she can make up the places. And Morgan Kidd's made another move. Another great overtaking move there as Morgan Kidd moves up into 13th position on Harry Yardley Rose and Max Davies. Liam Hurrell's had an incident somewhere. So Liam Hurrell is down at the back of the field, unfortunately, in the 63. So he's had an off in the first sector and lost about 22 seconds. That's a real shame. So Stevenson, Richardson and Pulling. And Pulling makes the move for 2nd place. That was a late lunge. Richardson drifted wide and Pulling went, that'll do. Thank you. 2nd place is mine. So now it's Stevenson from Pulling, and Pulling will get lots of confidence sat behind Spencer Stevenson once again. So now they will continue as Abby Pulling looks for another opportunity to close up on teammate. Oh, that's an off for the 33. So Max Davies has gone off somewhere and had to drop down the order. So Davies has let Davis through. Watson, Strong, Harrison, Wigley and Liam Hurrell, of course, at the back of the field. And Abby Pulling is in the lead again. Now comes Stevenson to take the lead back. Pulling's going to drift out wide. Richardson's going to try and get back through in a 2nd. Not happening. Butterworth is now poised to make a move for Richardson. But Stevenson's taken the lead back with just under 4 minutes plus 1 lap to go. This is going to be a tight battle all the way to the flag. Stevenson, Pulling, Richardson, Butterworth. The 4 of them have got away. And now Zach Oates has gone into 5th position ahead of Dan McKeown. So Oates has recovered his weekend and has got himself into P5. McKeown is 6th. Kearney, Harvey, Newsham, Kilmister. Then it's Taylor, Orton, Yardley Rose, Morgan Kidd in 14th, then it's Davies, then Davies, Watson and Strong. And now Butterworth's into 3rd place. Pulling's down to 4th, but she's been as low as 4th position so far this weekend. And her 3 previous races should still see her in a good position championship-wise. Richardson's now trying to push Stevenson a bit further up the road away from Pulling. Butterworth's there in 3rd, Pulling in 4th place. It's not time to panic yet for Abby Pulling. 3 minutes and 5 on the clock, plus that 1 extra lap. Still plenty of time to make a race count. So they will be pushing very hard indeed. They will continue to fight for every single quarter. So great racing to come. As here they come once again into the right-hander. And it's Richardson who leads it. Butterworth 2nd, and up to 3rd comes Pulling on Stevenson. They have all had a turn then, running in each of the positions except for Butterworth, who has yet to lead the race. But brilliant stuff from them as they keep on hustling around the circuit here. Spencer Stevenson trying to get one over on Abby Pulling. It's not happening yet. But what sensational racing we are getting here as the drivers continue to run around the circuit in good gusto. So there's more great racing where this came from. We've still got some great battles to come and amazing battles to the flag. Richardson, Butterworth, Pulling and Stevenson. 4 carts scrapping away. Here they come, and Daniel Butterworth hits the front for the first time. Pulling's now going to try the long way round the outside of Richardson to hold on to the inside line. That's not going to work. So Pulling slots back in a 3rd. Stevenson will give her a little bit of a nudge forward. But how about this? Dan Butterworth, the privateer on the gold chassis, is now leading. Absolutely brilliant, and he's got some space between himself and Richardson. Pulling and Stevenson are going to need to work with him to move further forward and gain back the ground lost. But now all 4 of them have had a turn at leading this race, and it really is any one of the 4 of them that can win it. So Butterworth's got a crucial gap over Oliver Richardson. At the moment, that is only about half a second, but that could be the difference between winning and losing. Pulling still there in 3rd, Stevenson 4th. 5th position is Oates, and he's not actually that far away from them anymore. McKeown is 6th, Connor Kearney's closing in on them for 7th, and that is a move as Richardson gets past Stevenson, because Pulling has got through in a 2nd place. So Stevenson drops to 4th, and this is a great run as Abby Pulling now in 2nd, Richardson 3rd, Stevenson 4th. Can they give us some support and go after that victory that they're craving? Well, Pulling has won everything thus far, but 2nd place would still be enough for her to retain the championship lead heading to the 2nd round of the Junior TKM. But Dan Butterworth leads the way. The privateer has made this move at exactly the right moment. And Abby Pulling in 2nd place is looking pretty tidy in that 2nd, but that will not be too bad a performance. And she will lead the championship if she remains where she is, but she will want the win if she can get it. So into the final turn and completing another lap. This is the penultimate lap now as well. 30 seconds to go. So it's up to Pulling, Richardson and Butterworth to see if they can get that half a second gap down. But I'm not sure they can. Butterworth has done plenty good on this one to hold the advantage. Oates is 5th from McKeown, Kearney, Harvey Newsham, Taylor Kilmister, Orton, Yardley Rose, Morgan Kidd. Then it is Max Davies from Watson, Wigley, Strong, Davis, Harrison and Hurrell. Well, Butterworth is not leading by as much as he was. It's definitely not half a second anymore. So Abby Pulling is doing her best to close him in. It's less than half a second now. I'd say that's only about 0.3 of a second as they come into the final hairpin. And Pulling has not given up yet. Last lap. Here we go. Can Abby Pulling or Oliver Richardson or Spencer Stevenson find a little bit more time and hold on and close in on Dan Butterworth? 0.3 of a second is the gap as they come across the line. Is there going to be enough of a moment for Abby Pulling to come through? Down the back straight. Pulling, if she gets a good line through this turn, then there's going to be a chance, and she knows there's a possibility. Butterworth's defending like crazy. Richardson to the inside. Pulling defends well, and I think that's the win one. I think Butterworth's done enough. So Butterworth into the final couple of corners. Abby Pulling still charging fine with gusto. Can she make the lunge? No, she's going to settle for 2nd unless she gets it out the final turn. Butterworth wins it. Butterworth wins the final. Terrific. Butterworth wins the last race of the weekend for Junior TKM from Abby Pulling. 3rd is Richardson, 4th is Spencer Stevenson. Pulling will lead the championship points, but Dan Butterworth gets the television moment he wanted and gets the victory. Absolutely brilliant. 5th for Oates, 6th for McKeown, Connor Kearney in 7th place, Harvey is 8th from Newsham and Taylor. Great work from the Sam Jenkins Motorsport guys. Dominic Kilmister fought his way to 11th in the end. Then there is Harry Yardley Rosen. William Orton, Kilmister's teammate. Morgan Kidd, what a comeback. 14th position. She can be very happy with that on her first weekend in the championship after her prang into the wall yesterday. Really good stuff. Davies is 15th from Watson, Wigley, Davis, Strong, Joe Harrison, and sadly after a retirement, Liam Hurrell out of the race. But what a sensational run that was in the junior TKMs. They've been absolutely brilliant, and they really deserve the credit from that one. Really good work from them all, but Daniel Butterworth is the man who'll stand on the podium later. We've now only got 3 races to go, and that is the Junior X30, Senior X30, and TKM Extreme. It's been a great weekend thus far, and hopefully it will conclude in magnificent fashion for the 28th race of the weekend, and that is going to be the Junior X30.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Junior X30 time it is then, and we're really excited to see how this one goes because we've got so many competitive drivers in the field this time, all of them with the potential to win, and it will be very, very tough indeed as the drivers get themselves into position. We'll have some great racing action from them, no doubt. And here is the grid for that Junior X30 second final. Alessandro Serenetti, after his convincing victory in race 1 of the finals earlier on, ahead of the man from Dalry. The fan club is here in all earnest. Lewis Gilbert, and he will start from the front row of the grid. Then it is Dragon Pinson. What a fight back from him. This one, Axel Laflamme on the second row of the grid. Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Clayton Ravenscroft on the third row. Good comeback from the latter as well. Josh Ratigan still in the mix in the top 10 in row 4. Matthew Hudson alongside him for Coles Racing. The teammates then on the fourth row. Tom Edgar and Oliver Gray will round out the top 10. Alex Lloyd and Luke Whitehead in the top 6 rows as well. 11th and 12th, good recovery drives from them. Caden McQueen has Lewis Thompson alongside him, hoping for a bit more from the second final. Casper Stevenson and Joseph Taylor are next up on the 8th row of the grid from Rufus Hunt and Dylan Cooper. Then it's Louis Short, Alex Walker, Oliver Behrman, Sam Heading, Alex Lay, Max Mayer, Shane White, Theo Edgerton, Alex Moody, Dougie Bolger, Tyler Reid, Nelson King, Sam Hawthorne, and from the very back of the grid is going to be Reggie Dewey for the Kato Motorsport team. But if that's ever going to fire him up and motivate him to push forward, that is going to be the thing. So we'll see what happens in this final race of the weekend for the Junior X30s. It's been a sensational weekend for them. We've had some great racing throughout. And as we come to a close of the meeting here in the Two-Tone Money Super 1 British Karting Championships, a reminder to everybody who has been in the top 3 of their classes, unless of course you're in the Cadets and Bambinos where there are a few more prizes for the lower positions as well, then please make sure you stick around because we've got trophy presentations to come at the end of the meeting. But it's been an absolutely sensational weekend and I've loved every second of it, to be fair, and I'm really disappointed it's coming to a close, but we have 3 of the best races of the weekend to come. The televised final for 3 of the most action-packed, close nonsense nation battles of racing prowess, and that is Junior X30, Senior X30 and TKM Extreme. But we begin with the Junior X30s, and it's been one heck of a contest this season as well as this weekend. Clayton Ravenscroft, the championship leader coming into this one, has actually had to play catch-up for a lot of this meeting, but he's there on the third row. The man in form is Alessandro Serenetti, and the man from Dalry, Lewis Gilbert. Those two very much in potential for the victory of the whole thing, but the way Serenetti won the pre-final was absolutely monstrous. A 6.5 second victory in the end of it all, so he's hoping that there's some kind of magic in the air for him again in this one. He really got a beautiful setup and a great gap and advantage once he got the lead. Can he keep it? But a lot of people will be keeping an eye on Dragon Pinson as well from the second row of the grid. The way he has come back into the action has been stupendous. So let's see what happens. So here's your grid once again. Serenetti, Gilbert, Pinsent, Laflamme, Pritchard, Williams, Ravenscroft, Radican and Hudson, Edgar, Gray, Lloyd, Whitehead, McQueen, Thompson, Stevenson, Taylor, Hunt, Cooper, Short, Walker, Behrman, Heading, Lay, Meir, White, Edgerton, and then towards the back we have Moody, Bolger, Reed, King, Hawthorne and Reggie Dewey. So as the drivers get into position, it will be a really strong challenge from the drivers in position as they will form up in their rows for the rolling lap here at Larkhall. Getting excited about this one. These guys have got plenty of racing to do. And we'll get some really exciting racing underway once they come out of that final turn. We will have some great action. Here we go. Great start. And it's a beautiful getaway from Serenetti. The top four remain in their positions as the field flies through. Already Reggie Dewey's made up a couple of places from the back, I noticed. But Serenetti, Gilbert, Pinsent, Laflamme remain in those positions as Teddy Pritchard-Williams tried to work his way forward and had to slot into fifth position with Clayton Ravenscroft. So it's all stalemate as they work their way through. Good starts throughout. But here is Serenetti in the lead. Second place, that is Pinsent. Pinsent's come through. Gilbert's down to fourth. So I'm not quite sure what's happened on his start, but Gilbert's down to fourth. And Serenetti has got the Dartford karting driver, Dragon Pinsent, in second place. Then it is Teddy Pritchard-Williams. Gilbert's next. Then Laflamme. And then it is Josh Radican in the 27. Then it is the 41 of Hudson. And Ravenscroft down to 8th in front of Alex Lloyd charging forward. And we've had an off further back. That looks like two carts have come off the road there. So we'll see who that is that's come through. That is the 87 that's come off the road of Oliver Behrman. He's had no luck at all this weekend, and the 15 off there as well. It's another bad day at the office from both of those drivers' point of view. But that is Dylan Cooper. So Behrman and Cooper already have been in the wars a lot this weekend, and Oliver Behrman, I'm afraid, no change so far. Serenetti, Pinsent, Pritchard-Williams and Gilbert. That's your top four. Fifth place is Axel Laflamme. Then it's Ratican, Ravenscroft. Alex Lloyd has come through. Whoa, that's a late lunge from Oliver Gray to move past Matthew Hudson. Whitehead's come through into 11th place. Then it's McQueen, Stevenson, Thompson, Hunt, Edgar, Taylor, Short, Alex Walker and Shane White. So some great battles. Reggie Dewey has already made up 8 places to 24th position. So Reggie Dewey's on the charge and he's the 3 plate from last year. So do not count him out yet. There's plenty of great racing to come from Reggie. Nice move on the inside line there from the 16 moving up a position. That's Shane White, the Litchfield Motorsport driver, as he tries to work his way through. And that looks like a good lunge from Hudson into the final turn to get onto the back of Alex Lloyd. Fending off is Oliver Gray. And then Kato McQueen is in that mix as well. So a good little battle from those guys. Luke Whitehead running well in the number 7 there as well. Reggie Dewey up another place. That's up 9 places now. Moody's making good progress as well. His teammate. It looks as though the two Kato Motorsport drivers are working together. So this could be a really interesting challenge from them. Great racing so far, but it's Serenetti in the lead. Second is Pinsent. Third is Pritchard-Williams. Fourth is Gilbert. Fifth is Laflamme. Sixth is Ratican. And 7th is Ravenscroft. A really great race in the British Championships. It always is. And we're having an amazing day at the races here at Larkhall. Alex Lloyd up to 8th place. Good recovery drive from him this weekend. That looked to me like Matthew Hudson may have lost another place to Luke Whitehead. I'll double check that as they come round. And we've got a few people on the far side that are actually sat on the fence. You need to make sure you're not sitting on the fence. That is a safety precaution. Obviously, if a cart comes off at that point, you do not want them sat on the fence. So please make sure you've got no spectators sat on the fence. Thank you. Meanwhile, back in the race, Dragon Pinsent is your new leader. Serenetti second, and up to third comes Gilbert. Gilbert makes the move for P3, and he's there. So that's caught Pritchard-Williams out. He's going to drop all the way down to 7th position. Laflamme has got by. Ravenscroft's through. Rattenkin's through. So now Pritchard-Williams is in 7th position in front of Alex Lloyd, with Kato McQueen having got past Oliver Gray. So those two are battling. Here they come once again into the section where the spectators can see it all. Pinsent, Serenetti, Gilbert, Laflamme, Ravenscroft and Ratican. That's your top 6 now. It's all a bit of a shuffle. But Pinsent is your new race leader. Serenetti still strong in 2nd place. And there's the move from Ravenscroft into 4th position, and he's there. Nicely done in front of Laflamme and Ratican. 7th is now Lloyd. 8th is Pritchard-Williams. 9th is McQueen. 10th is Whitehead. Great racing all the way down. A warning flag now to the 51. Now, the 51 cart Now that belongs to Sam Hawthorne. So Hawthorne trying to make up a recovery has obviously been caught out somewhere. Not sure what that's for. Pinsent leads though. Serenetti second from Gilbert, and Ravenscroft trying to get closer to his teammate. Maybe these two can work together like they were doing in Friday practice. They were working each other around the circuit to get the fastest lap times out of each other, and they were the fastest too for a lot of the sessions. So good to see if they can make it back. But Dragon Pinson has got Alessandro Serenetti right behind, and now the 88 has been given a warning flag. Again, I'm not sure what that's for, but that's a little bit of a ticking off for Alex Moody. Meanwhile, his teammate Reggie Dewey is the big mover in the pack. He's up to 18th place, having moved his way right up to 18th. That's 14 places made. But it's Pinsent, Serenetti, Gilbert, Ravenscroft. Then it is Ratican in front of Axel Laflamme now. So Laflamme has been passed by Ratican, and they're working together to close up on the leading four. Now, let's look back through the field and see if we can spot a few overtakes. And there's been quite a few of them. Reggie Dewey now leading his pack, chasing down Joe Taylor. And he's going to get a little bit of a move for the 22, who tries to make the overtake on Dewey. Dewey does not budge. And that's cost the 22 of Tyler Reid a few places. Beautiful defending from Reggie Dewey. Had no obligation to give over the place, but did an amazing job to keep him back. And now that is a change for the lead again. That's Serenetti back into the lead. Gilbert's in third. Ravenscroft's in fourth. Really good racing from the front, and now there's four more to join the battle because we've got Ratican, Laflamme, that is Alex Lloyd, and Teddy Pritchard-Williams in the mix. Ravenscroft makes the move for third. Ravenscroft into P3 for the championship ramifications. That is essential. He's done a great job there. So some great racing as there's a big battle going on. Tyler Reid trying to make his way up the inside of the 17 and gets the place there on Alex Lay. I'm not sure Lay will feel too happy about that one because that was a little bit edgy for my liking. Through the right-hander they come. Serenetti, Pinson, Ravenscroft and Gilbert. Great battle between these four. Then it's Laflamme in front of Ratican, Lloyd and Pritchard-Williams. And they're close to the leaders too. McQueen is still there in P9. Reggie Dewey's dropped the field behind him. He's trying to catch after Joseph Taylor. So here they come once more out of the final turn and over the line. Still these four. Serenetti, Pinson, Ravenscroft, Gilbert. And there's been a bit of an off further back. That looks like Dylan Cooper has gone off the road a second time. That's a real shame. Off at there, the right-hander coming up towards the hairpin complex. So now we watch for the leaders coming through. Serenetti's got company. Dragon Pinson still right behind him. Ravenscroft is getting faster. Ravenscroft is looking to try and make a move through. Ravenscroft goes right round the outside. Surely that was never going to work, but what bravery to make it happen. And that has held up Gilbert. Laflamme's got through, Ratican's got through, Lloyd's got through, Pritchard-Williams has got through, and now Pinson's going for the lead on Serenetti. Pinson is in the lead. Serenetti second, Ravenscroft third, then it's Laflamme, Ratican, Lloyd, Pritchard-Williams, Gilbert, and in ninth place is Caden McQueen. What a tough race this is up front. Really exciting stuff, and always right down to the wire in Junior X30. But now with 4.5 minutes still on the clock, plus one lap, this could all still change. Pinson right in command at the moment. Ravenscroft has got Axel Laflamme chasing him down for third position. Ratican's very close, so is Lloyd, so is the man behind him, Pritchard-Williams. Then it is Gilbert, then it is McQueen. A long race still to go, 4 minutes 10 plus one lap. It could still change in many, many positions. Ravenscroft giving Serenetti a bit of a hurry up, and that's a big move from Ratican. Up into Laflamme. And now the 57, I'm afraid to say, of Sam Heading is being shown the mechanical flag. So Sam Heading has got a problem. I can't see what it is from this position, but Sam Heading has been given a mechanical flag, I'm afraid. So it looks like Sam Heading's race is going to end as Ravenscroft is now in second. Laflamme trying to come around the outside of Serenetti. Doesn't make that stick, but Ravenscroft is through into second place. And how about this? Just like Wilton Mill a few weeks ago, we've got Dragon Pinson in front of Clayton Ravenscroft. Absolutely amazing. How has this turned around? And up the inside goes Ratican. Ratican makes the move on Axel Laflamme. Now this time, as he got through into P4 through that first couple of corners, it's a very tough battle into turn one there for the 16 of Shane White. I think he was battling away with Louis Short. Reggie Dewey's made up another place. That puts him 17th behind Joe Taylor. But Pinsent is your leader. Ravenscroft second. Serenetti third. Then it is Pritchard-Williams, and it's an absolute squabble behind. Laflamme is fifth. McQueen is now sixth. Then it is Lewis Gilbert and Alex Lloyd. So who's that now in ninth place? That looks like Luke Whitehead. So it looks like we've lost, I think we've lost Josh Ratican. Where's Josh Ratican gone? The 27. Ratican's dropped down to 11th. So something happened there on the far side of the circuit. I think Ratican lost time in the second sector. So he lost 3 seconds, and that's dropped him down to 11th. What a shame for Josh Ratican. Again, no luck at all on national soil, even though he's done an absolutely cracking job at the front end of the field in the European Brigade. And Alex Lloyd goes for broke on Lewis Gilbert and gets through beautifully. Axel Laflamme is through as well. So it's Dragon Pinson who leads it. Ravenscroft and Serenetti close. Serenetti giving Ravenscroft some support to try and get after Dragon Pinson with 2 minutes 10 plus a lap on the clock. And I'm sorry to say that the 57 of Sam Heading has definitely ended his race now. What a shame. Well, not his fault. Mechanical flag was the problem. But now it's looking good for the man out front. Dragon Pinson looking likely to take the final victory this time. Ravenscroft and Serenetti trying to close him down. It's still very close. This is Clayton Ravenscroft. He will try valiantly with every fibre of his being to make his way through. When you consider that he was outside the top 10 at one point in this meeting, to see him there close to Dragon Pinson at the end of this race is pretty awesome. 1 minute 30 plus 1 lap. I have made several comparisons this year about Clayton Ravenscroft to Nigel Mansell, and I will stand by that. He is such a tiger. He's our very own new Il Leone, and now he's getting right onto the back of Pinson. He's actually trying to get Pinson to make a mistake now as he pushes his way onto him. Serenetti's close in behind. Serenetti's going to get past Ravenscroft round the outside at the braking zone and nuzzles his way through. Beautiful driving from Serenetti. Ravenscroft tries to get him on the undercut. Not going to happen. Pinson leading, Serenetti, Ravenscroft now dives for the inside of the hairpin, and that looks like he's going to be followed through as well. Oh, Ravenscroft off on the grass. Pritchard Williams through in a second, Serenetti third, Ravenscroft fourth from McQueen and Lloyd. Gilbert seventh, Laflamme is eighth, Whitehead is ninth from Thompson. This race has still got so many more twists and turns to go as we're surely into the penultimate lap. Can anybody catch Dragon Pinson? He has got a great lead. Terry Pritchard Williams in second. Third is Serenetti. Fourth is Ravenscroft from McQueen and Alex Lloyd. A much better run from Alex Lloyd this time. Great to see him back in the top 6 again. But is this going to be enough to get the job done? Here is Pinson. McQueen tightening up on Ravenscroft. Pritchard Williams away from Alessandro Serenetti. And I think we're going to see a very interesting podium if things remain as they are. But for Clayton Ravenscroft, even though a victory could have been on the cards, a top 4 is not bad for the championship points reckoning. But how about this? Dragon Pinson has put himself in exactly the right place, controlled the pace of his race, not got flustered, kept his card on the straight and narrow, and now Ravenscroft has lost 4th place to McQueen. Lloyd is trying to come through as well to get into 5th place, but Dragon Pinson is this time going to win, and he'll keep it. There's no penalty coming for Pinson this time. Oh, that's the last lap board. My apologies. I thought we were going to be on the last lap that last time by. So Dragon Pinson still has one more time of asking. Pritchard Williams, Serenetti, McQueen, Ravenscroft and Lloyd. Gilbert 7th, Whitehead 8th from Laflamme and Thompson. Edgar is 11th from Ollie Gray, Radican, Stevenson, Taylor, White, Dewey in 17th. Hudson, Short and Tyler Reid. And there's the battle for 2nd place. Serenetti going right round the outside of Teddy Pritchard Williams. Doesn't get the move. 4th position is anybody's. There's about 8 of them in the mix there. But it's going to be Dragon Pinson who wins it. A fantastic run. Dragon Pinson wins at Larkhall. Fantastic. Pritchard Williams 2nd from Serenetti. And 4th is going to be Caden McQueen. Ravenscroft 5th from Lloyd, Laflamme, Thompson, Edgar and Gilbert. Wow, but what a victory for Dragon Pinson. Really good racing there as Pinson puts himself into position. Luke Whitehead is 11th. 12th place from Josh Ratican. Oliver Gray is 13th position. My goodness me, Dragon Pinson has left us absolutely dumbfounded. What a drive, what a display, and Dragon Pinson gets his championship challenge right back on top. Outside the top 10, it's Whitehead from Ratican, Gray, Stevenson, White is 15th, Joseph Taylor in 16th place from Tyler Reid, Louis Short, Reggie Dewey inside the top 20 is very impressive. He made up the most places from Alex Walker, Matthew Hudson, Rufus Hunt, Douglas Bolger, Alex Lay, Theo Edgerton, Max Meir comes home 26th in front of Dylan Cooper. Then it's Sam Hawthorne, And our 4 retirements, sadly, for Sam Heading, Alex Moody, Nelson King and Oliver Bierman. But Dragon Pinsent wins a thriller in the final race of the weekend for Junior X30. Just 2 races to... It's going to be an interesting one as they battle away for position in the Senior X30 final.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jake Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
And Trade Price Cars. You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality and Trade Price Cars.
Righto, folks, apologies for the slight break in transmission there. I just wanted to make sure we saved the broadcast for the Downforce UK listeners. We are about to get underway again then for the Senior X30 finals. It's been an absolutely amazing run in the Junior X30 from Dragon Pinsent, with Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Alessandro Saranetti in the mix there in that one. But there are 2 races still to go here in the Super 1 British Championships at the West of Scotland Karting Club at Larkhall, Scotland. And it is, as we have mentioned several times before, a beautiful day at the office here. We've got some amazing sunshine baking us to a crisp. And if you give it a little bit longer, once the races are over, it's eggs and bacon weather on that home straight. You could almost fry them to a crisp on the finish line. Anyway, an absolutely brilliant pair of races to come as Oliver Hodgson and Levi King resume their battle on the front of the Senior X30 final grid from Sean Butcher and Morgan Porter. Brad Pennell and Joe Turney will be there in the top 6 as well, from Owen Byatt and Scott Jackson. Then it is Derek Morgan and Elliot Harvey from Thomas Turner and Paul Stewart. They leave the pits now. Alex Wang Ewan Wilson, Jensen Brown, Josh Thompson-White, Angus Millsdale, Matt Armstrong, Rory Hudson, Sky Siddle, Anna Morris, Brandon Matchell, Rashid Ghanem, Archie Tillett, Saul Robinson, Lewis Malin, and the man with absolutely no luck at all, the 92 of Henry Laws. Hopefully this race will turn it all around. So just 2 races left of the day's action, and we'll have some absolutely brilliant racing to close down the action here in the Two-Toe Money Super 1 British Karting Championships. And it's been a very exciting day at the office. This is race 29 out of 30. Trophies, of course, to give out on the podiums later. Refrain, please, teams on the pit wall from giving your teams hand signals. They are not allowed. Restrain yourselves, please. Otherwise, I will bring some elastic bands to Rowra, and I will make sure all of your hands are bound. Anyway, so they come round out of the final turn. Oliver Hodgson and Levi King, Sean Butcher and Morgan Porter, Brad Pennell and Joe Turney, Byatt, Jackson, Morgan, Harvey, Turner, Stewart, Wang, Wilson. Here we go! And a cracking getaway from the front of the field from the number 2. Butcher's got through into second place. That is the highest position he's been all weekend, and he could get the win here. A great run from Sean Butcher. He's been working very solidly and consistently. The Australian for Mick Barrett Racing right in the mix. Oliver Hodgson leads the way. Sean Butcher now second, the Australian. Great run. Third position in there as well. That is that Brad Pennell? Yes, it is. So that's 3 drivers from the inside line, all through together. Then it's Morgan Porter. Levi King has not had the greatest of starts. He's there in P5, and that's up to second place for Brad Pennell. Brad Pennell's having a great run. Up to second place from P5 on the grid. And we've got damage. Damage for the 28 further back. That's Brandon Matchell. Matchell's had an incident on the far side of the circuit, and he is coming into the pits to retire, I'm afraid to say. Where is Anna Morris? She's not come through either. So I think the 2 drivers that are going to be out of the race this time are going to be Anna Morris and the 28 of Brandon Matchell, I'm afraid. No Anna Morris, she's not come through. And Brandon Matchell's coming into the pits to retire. So Hodgson leads the race. And there's a yellow flag at the hairpin. So I think it's Anna Morris out at the hairpin. That's what happened there. But Oliver Hodgson leads the race, as he does the championship fight, of course. Brad Pennell in second place. Porter, Butcher, King, Byatt, Turney, Jackson, Turner and Paul Stewart round out the top 10. Then it's Elliot Harvey, Alexander Huang, Josh Thompson-White, Derek Morgan, Matt Armstrong, Rory Hudson. And then we've got Henry Laws up in 17th. That's more like it. Henry Laws has made up 10 places off the grid. Then we've got Lewis Malin. He's up 8 of his own in 18th place now. Fantastic work from those 2 as they've charged forward. And that's a good move up the inside there from the 41. Beautiful bit of overtaking move there from Rory Hudson as he moves forward, the man from Cambridge. And a big move there on the inside from Alexander Huang, the man from Boston, where he's based these days. Oh, it looks like Elliot Harvey's going to get him straight back again. Terrific move into turn 1. And we've had an off in the final turn by the look of it as well. I think that's a couple of drivers dropping back. I think Rashid Ghanem has fallen back down the order to 25th. With Archie Tillett and Saul Robinson having a bit of a tricky day at the office as well. Oh, a bit of jostling for position between Levi King and Sean Butcher, who's not had the greatest of races in the last 3 laps now. He was up in second at one point, but since then he's been going backwards, now having to fend off from the leading privateer, Owen Byatt. But Byatt's looking very strong into turn 1, and he's through, and that's also going to allow Joe Turney through. There's a warning flag for Alexander Huang, the Singaporean driver. So based out of Boston nowadays, but not the greatest moment from his point of view. So he will fight back from that. But here they come, into sight once again. Hodgson in the lead, Pennell second, Porter third. Then it is the 4th place man, Levi King. Byatt is ahead of Joe Turney, Sean Butcher. And then we've got the leading rookie. That has got to be Scott Jackson, the 18. So he's in there with a great run from Thomas Turner in the 3-plate behind him. Then Paul Stewart, Elliot Harvey, Huang, Morgan, Armstrong, Hudson and Henry Laws, with Lewis Malin going with him wherever he goes. Great work from those 2 as they are getting their weekends back up to scratch again. Not the greatest of runs so far from Angus Millsdale, the 33, but let's not forget he is still having a tricky time of things in this class. But there is the number 2, Oliver Hodgson in front of Brad Pennell. Morgan Porter in P3. Great run from these 3 as Hodgson tries to step away from Pennell and Porter and build up a bit of a gap. If he continues that, he's not going to lose ground. Into the final hairpin and over the line once again. Grantham's finest, Oliver Hodgson, continues to lead here from Pennell, Porter, King, Turney, Byatt, Turner, Scott Jackson, then Butcher, Stewart and Alex Huang. Derek Morgan's lost quite a few places on that lap, so something happened to Derek Morgan that time by. Some great racing still to come as they continue on with 7 3/4 minutes to go, plus that 1 lap added on. Oliver Hodgson, Brad Pennell, 46 Morgan Porter, very close indeed. Hodgson and Porter have both won races this weekend, of course. The man in second place, Brad Pennell, is having the race of his life at the moment in second place, doing a grand job and hoping to stay where he is at least. Levi King in fourth. Turney's got a bit of a challenge from Owen Byatt, and there's a warning flag gone out for Elliot Harvey, so clearly Elliot Harvey stepped over the mark somewhere. Not quite sure what he's supposed to have done. I didn't see anything untoward. Looks to me as though there might be some damage to the 77 of Rashid Ghanem. I think he got caught up in that incident earlier on, and the left rear of the car looks very vibrant as he comes through, and I do mean that in the literal sense. So Hodgson leading the way, Pennell second, and Porter in third. Fourth place, number 6, Levi King. Then it's Joe Turney, Byatt, Turner. And then we've got Scott Jackson still leading the rookie charge in front of Sean Butcher and the 11 of Paul Stewart. Looking much better in this race. Well, Lewis Malin and Henry Laws are going through the field together. They're now 14th and 15th. They both made up 12 places each, as Rory Hudson has made up 3 from 16th. It's been a difficult one for a couple of the drivers out there, but good to see a lot of progress being made. Hodgson, Pennell and Porter from King, and Joe Turney leading Owen Byatt and Turner as they scrap away for positions again. But Hodgson very in control at the moment. Brad Pennell is close, but not close enough yet. Although he is getting a little support from Morgan Porter as they come through. Levi King is fourth, then it's Joe Turney, Owen Byatt and Thomas Turner. Jackson, Butcher, Stewart, Huang, Armstrong, Harvey, Malin, Laws, Hudson, Wilson, Morgan, Jensen Brown and Angus Millsdale. Then it is Thompson White from Sky Siddle, Archie Tillett, Saul Robinson and Rashid Ghanem, with the only 2 retirements from the race, Anna Morris and, of course, the man who had the damage on the way into the pits, Brandon Matchell. Now, Pennell is much closer to Hodgson than he was, so this is definitely looking a lot better, and I think we may have a really tough battle on our hands with these two as they continue to squabble. Pennell's going to get some really good sector times down here to close up the gap and bring out a bit more of an advantage. So let's see what this can turn into. Great racing. Absolutely supreme performance thus far from these guys as the racing continues on in fine form. On the far side of the circuit, we still have Oliver Hodgson leading from Brad Pennell. Morgan Porter in third position. Fourth place, Levi King. Joe Turney in there in P5. Well, he was. Now he's got Thomas Turner having moved his way through. Byatt's trying to force Joe Turney to get up the inside of him, but there's no space to get through. Now Jackson's got Sean Butcher and the 11 in there as well, Paul Stewart. Absolutely terrific from these 6 as they squabble away over, what is that now, 5th position. 6 of them in the mix, and they're all in the top 10. Alex Huang is 11th. Armstrong 12th, then it's Malin. A long drive up the road from him. Harvey, Laws, Wilson, Hudson, Morgan, Brown and Millsdale. Thompson White, the young man from the Isle of Man, is in 21st. Then it's Siddle, Tillett and Robinson with Rashid Ghanem. Definitely something not right with the left rear corner of that kart. But he's still motoring on regardless, and it's not dangerous enough to warrant a mechanical flag. So he continues on. Thomas Turner, now having moved up into 5th place, is trying to drop Joe Turney and co. and set off after the man in 4th place, Levi King. But there's a massive gap and only 4 minutes 12 on the clock plus 1 lap to do it. Great racing still to come in this race, I fear. For a lot of the drivers in the top 10, their positions are not secure. We've got a warning flag for Thomas Turner has just gone out, the number 3 plate. So clearly something was not quite done correctly from Thomas Turner, whether that was track limits or they thought that an overtaking move was a little bit feisty. Whatever it was, he has been given a warning for it, so he needs to be careful. But the 3 leaders are still way out in front of the rest. Hodgson, Pennell and Porter, they are matching each other sector for sector. How about that? In the first sector, they all did a 13.04. That's absolutely amazing. They've just gone past the pits now, and we'll see what they can do this time around in terms of their first sector times. Well, actually, both Porter and Pennell are now faster than Hodgson. So Hodgson is losing a little bit of ground. It's not a dramatic amount of time. Let's not split hairs here because Pennell and Porter are still there in second and third. and they are catching Hodgson, but it's not a dramatic gain of time. They still need to make all of the hard work come to them as the race progresses. And we've got just under 3 minutes plus 1 lap left. Hodgson, Pennell, Porter, King, Turner, Turney. Well, it was. Now Byatt's got through. So the leading privateer in the race is Owen Byatt. The leading rookie in the race is Scott Jackson. And things going very well from their point of view at the moment. So Hodgson leads the way up the far end of the circuit. Pennell and Porter are closer, but I'm not sure they've even got enough time really to put in a challenge, especially with Hodgson's pace looking as it is at the moment. I think he's got things pretty much his own way. So there's still a really interesting battle as the drivers continue on. Good to see some cracking racing around the Larkhall circuit in this Senior X30 battle. But it's Hodgson, Pennell, Porter, King, Turner, Byatt, Turney, Butcher, Stewart and Jackson in the top 10. It remains that way, and it has done for a few laps now. Just under 2 minutes plus 1 lap left. So they are running out of time. They are ticking away. Porter looking a bit feisty now on the back of Brad Pennell. But if Porter makes the move on Pennell first, that gives Hodgson a little bit of a break. So they need to basically be patient and work into each other together. Porter's a race winner here. He knows how to get the job done. So surely he will abide with Brad Pennell in second place and start to work with him to move forward. The fastest lap of the race, by the way, for the record, is Brad Pennell, 38.58. And we've had a retirement on the far side. That looks to me like there's been an incident between Rory Hudson and Derek Morgan. And I think that's Derek Morgan's kart being moved. So Derek Morgan is out of the race by the look of it. And Rory Hudson has had to rejoin the circuit further up. Is that Owen Byatt having overshot in the 38? I think it is. Owen Byatt has overshot and pulled out in front of Joe Turney by quite a few kart lengths. So Owen Byatt got the fastest middle sector of them all. So I don't know what's going to happen there as a result of that, because Byatt held his position. Now Morgan has got going again. Rory Hudson has not completed the second sector either, so I think Hudson is out of the race. Morgan is too, although Morgan is trying to get the car back to the pits. So I'm not sure what the verdict is going to be for that one. But Hodgson has pulled out a massive gap. Where's Brad Pennell? Where is Brad Pennell? Pennell's gone down the order to third place. In fact, Pennell's got some kind of difficulty because Levi King's gone through now as well. A major problem for Brad Pennell, who's dropping off the pace. Down into third position, down into fourth position then likewise. So difficulties there, and it looks like that's given the victory on a silver platter to Oliver Hodgson. Hodgson's going to have this win absolutely sewn up as Rory Hudson has got the kart going again, but I think the only thing he's really going to do is get the kart back to the pits. So Rory Hudson, the 41. Oh no, he is going to keep going. Just beating Derek Morgan would probably be satisfying after that kind of race. But Rory Hudson, having got back on the circuit in 24th place. Difficulties there. But Hodgson has now run down to nothing. The last lap orders come out, and it looks like Oliver Hodgson, with a 1.7 second advantage, is going to canter to the victory. Here he comes out of 4 and into the hairpins. This is going to be a great run for Hodgson, and he will continue his run in fine form in the championship. It's a brilliant finish for Oliver Hodgson as he comes out of the final few turns, into the left, into the right, and now the final hairpin. This is it for Oliver Hodgson. He cruises home. Oliver Hodgson wins in superb fashion. Second place for Morgan Porter. Third for Levi King. Then it's Brad Pennell from Thomas Turner. Owen Byatt, Joe Turney, Paul Stewart, Sean Butcher and Scott Jackson in the top 10. Then it is Lewis Malin from Alexander Huang, Matt Armstrong, Ewan Wilson and Henry Laws. Then it's Elliot Harvey from Jensen Brown and Angus Moulsdale. Josh Thompson-White is 19th from Archie Tillett. Saul Robinson and Sky Siddle come home next. What a drive, though, from Oliver Hodgson, who is enjoying his slow-down nap. Rashid Ghanem does come home for 23rd, in front of the two who tangled, Rory Hudson and Derek Morgan, who has already finished. But then Anna Morris and Brandon Matchell were the drivers who retired from the competition. Well, a great battle there and a great race, and really exciting stuff for Oliver Hodgson, who comes through to take the victory. one more race to go then, of course, here, and that is the TKM Extreme Final, which will take place in a little under 5 minutes' time.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Just as well then, we've only got time for one more race, because I think my throat has only got enough for one more race as well, after what's have been amazing races over the course of the weekend. Bit of a disappointment to see Anna Morris bringing the car back in, but at least she's okay, and hopefully next time out we will see her back to her best once more. Great battling all through the weekend. She's done a fair job, but there's more to come from her as the season progresses, no doubt. TKM Extreme are up next for the last race of the weekend and the second final for them, and this is going to be a really interesting battle between them all. We've got Joe Fowler and Ryan Cole on the front of the grid. Lee Whittingham and Adam Sparrow are on the second row, and there's great racing to come from them.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
So just one more race to go then, the TKM Extreme Final, and it's going to be Joe Fowler and Ryan Cole on the front row of the grid from Lee Whittingham and Adam Sparrow, Joseph Reeves-Smith and Sam Fowler on the third row from Matthew Taylor and Alex Rees, Chris Whitten and Louis Bevan on row 5, then Gavin Pitt and Carl Sproat on the 6th row, Max Goldsmith and Ross Deal are on row 7 from Zach Bowen and Christian Briley, Pete Newman and Rob Wellham, Matthew Ayres and Joe Stockford. And then we have John Hogan and Sam Johns, James Whittaker and Andrew Lawrence, Lewis Wadley and Amy Duke. And then we have Dan Butcher-Lord, Josh Sheriff, Isaac Marsh, Harry Moore, Theo Hesketh, Alex Lehman, Cristiano Nardoni and David Brickley. 34 drivers in position at the moment for the race. And we just like to ask, could we please ask for a Jaguar Estate Sierra Alpha 67 Whiskey Charlie Victor. I was trying to figure out what the phonetic alphabet for V is. Sierra Alpha 67 Whiskey Charlie Victor please make your way over to your car and move it, please. That would be very handy, as there are people trying to leave. That is Jaguar Estate Sierra Alpha 67 Whiskey Charlie Victor. Thank you very much indeed. We're getting underway for the T-Game Extreme though. 34 drivers in this final, and it's going to be one heck of a showdown. Joe Fowler, Ryan Cole, Lee Whittingham, Adam Sparrow, Joseph Reeve-Smith, Sam Fowler, Matthew Taylor, Alex Rees, Chris Whitten and Louis Bevan in the top 10. Then it's Pitt, Sproat, Goldsmith, Deal, Bowen, Briley, Newman, Wellham, Ayres, Stockford, Hogan, Johns, Whittaker, Lawrence, Wadley, Duke, Butcher Lord, Sheriff, Marsh, Moore, Hesketh, Lehman, Nardoni and Brickley. Lots of drivers out of position after a chaotic and frenetic penultimate race of the weekend for them. And there's still an awful lot of spectators around the circuit watching their boys and girls go to battle. But this will be an interesting one for Joe Fowler and Ryan Cole at the front of the field. Whittingham and Sparrow have worked their way through to the second row of the starting grid for this televised final. And as you can see up in the sky, the drone is flying over to grab the best shots in the pictures. So we're going to get some really exciting racing from the guys in TKM Extreme. Are you ready? Because they are, and we are about to go racing around this Larkhall circuit. It is go! Cracking start, and away we go. Straight away, Lee Whittingham gets a good go into that first corner. So we are in a great start from Joe Fowler and Lee Whittingham. I think Joe Reeve-Smith was trying to come through as well into third place. Not the greatest of starts from Ryan Cole. So he will slip down into, I think, at least number 3rd position. And we've got somebody off at the far side of the course. So there's been an off up on the far side. I can't actually see where that's gone, but it looks like they've got drivers' hands in the air. So it's the Battenbergs. We've got Battenberg flags around the circuit. So the Battenbergs mean that they will run in formation. Now, who is it that's gone? I think it is Christian Briley and Joe Stockford who have gone off there. Well, we'll double check and see as they come through, because of course they could have been drivers that ended up not starting the race. But there's definitely one of the drivers up the far side of the circuit, and we need to be under Battenbergs because there's quite considerable damage to the barriers on the run down to the hairpin on the far side of the circuit. So let's see who has yet to come through as we are under Battenberg conditions for the first time this season, actually. We've not had the Battenbergs out for Tutor Money Super 1 British Karting this year. So we've got Rees, Briley, Stockford and Brickley all having not come through. But I don't know if it's a 4-cart pile-up that's in there or if it's only 1 or 2. There's definitely 1 out of the cart. So, it's the 77 that's down there. So it is just the one of them. I think the other 3 didn't take the start for whatever reason. But the 77, I'm afraid to say, is Alex Rees, the man from Haverfordwest. So that is a problem for him. His race and his weekend are over. And the marshals are just working hard to repair the barriers. So I think there's going to be at least 1 more lap behind the Battenbergs. So we'll continue on the pace as the drivers continue on. And it's Joe Fowler who leads from Whittingham, Cole, Reeve-Smith, Adam Sparrow, Matthew Taylor, Sam Fowler, Chris Whitten, Gavin Pitt and Max Goldsmith. Then it is Louis Bevan, Kyle Sproat, Zach Bowen, Ross Deal, Rob Wellham, Pete Newman, Matthew Ayres, James Whittaker, then Hogan, Johns, Lawrence Duke, Wadley, Moore, Hesketh, Dan Butcherlord is 26th. Then behind him, we should have Josh Sheriff, then Isaac Marsh, Cristiano Nardoni and Alex Lemon. Rees and Brickley it is that have gone out of the race. 2 of them didn't start though, so we've had 4 drivers. Well, 1 of them apparently didn't start, but there's 2 names that are at the bottom of the list. So I think somebody isn't transponding. That could be the reason. So 1 of them is not transponding. We'll try and figure out who that is out of position. But I think we are now about to go racing. So the flag is just getting the drivers back into position. Are we getting ready for racing once again? I think we are. Yes, we are. Green flags. And away we go racing once more. Fowler, Whittingham, Cole, Reeve-Smith, Sparrow, Taylor, Fowler, Whitten, Pitt and Goldsmith. So the race restarts. I'm trying to work out who it is that is not transponding at the moment. So it looks to me as though we've got 2 drivers not transponding. That would be Christian Briley, the 37, and the 6 of Joe Stockford. They are running but not transponding. So that's going to be a difficult one from their point of view. And the green flags fly around the circuit as racing is back underway. Joe Fowler leading the brigade at the moment. Lee Whittingham in second. Third place, Ryan Cole. Then Joe Reeves-Smith in fourth place. Fifth position as they come across the line is Sparrow from Taylor and Witten. Witten doing a grand job to make the comeback. P7, number 7. Sam Fowler is 8th. Then Gavin Pitt from Goldsmith, Bevan, Sproat, Bowen, Wellham, Deal, Newman, Ayres, Whittaker, Johns, and rounding out the top 20 at the moment is Andrew Lawrence. So as they come back into sight, Joe Fowler continues to lead the way here with 8 minutes plus 1 lap on the deck. And they will be going for the victory at the front of the field with gusto. And that Battenberg period has obviously made things a little bit more frenetic. That's the first time all season we've gone Battenberg. As up the inside, that's a move from Christian Brierley, although he's not transponding, so he's about to realise that his whole race is effectively a time-wasting exercise. The drivers continue on past the pits. 7.5 minutes plus 1 lap. Joe Fowler running well. Whittingham second, Cole third. Fastest lap of all is Joe Fowler in the lead of 40.35. And he leads the way at the moment, but there's pressure as Cole makes the move on the inside of Whittingham. And that's a great move for second place. Gets that one done beautifully in the first of the hairpins in sector 2. And Reeves-Smith gets by Whittingham. So that's Reeves-Smith up into third place. Joe Fowler leads, Whittingham second. Joseph Reeves-Smith is now third. Oh, sorry, Cole is second. Reeves-Smith is third. Whittingham fourth from Taylor, Sparrow, Whitten, Fowler, Bevan and Goldsmith. Up to 17th comes Sam Johns. Something's happened to Ross Deal. What's happened to Ross Deal? I think he's out of the race. So Ross Deal does not appear to have come through the 11. So I'm afraid to say that is done and dusted for Ross Deal. And he'll be very disappointed with that one. But yes, he has not come through. And I think he's gone off at the first sector. So the Klassen Motorsport driver for the Welshman is out of this race. That's a real shame. Joe Fowler, however, controls the lead of the race. 3/4 of a second ahead of Ryan Cole. Joseph Reeves-Smith is still there in third from Lee Whittingham. Matthew Taylor, Adam Sparrow, Chris Whitten, Sam Fowler, Louis Bevan and Max Goldsmith in the top 10. Then it's Gavin Pitt. Then the leading rookie, Zach Bowen. He's not the leading privateer, though. That is Matthew Taylor in P5 at the moment. So there's some good battles on the far side of the circuit. Some great overtaking moves still being made as drivers are still trying to get the best out of their karts in the closing stages. And that's a big roll! Oh, dear, oh, dear. That is the 8 of Matthew Taylor. Makes the move on the inside. And Taylor goes up and over. He's got the kart on top of him there. And that's going to be a yellow flag, I believe, still. Yellow flags around the circuit. Is Matthew Taylor out of the kart? Yes, he is. Well, that looked worse than it was, clearly. But Matthew Taylor out of the kart and out of the race. And that also looks like Lee Whittingham has gone with him. So Whittingham is out of the kart just a few hundred metres. Well, not even 100 metres further up the road. Goodness me. Matthew Taylor got away with that one. That was a very narrow escape. But a big roll. And Matthew Taylor, none the worse for wear. Just checking himself up for cuts and bruises. No need to bring the race to a stop. Not even a need to bring the race to a Battenberg, because that was quick work from the marshals. Great work from them there. And a brilliant battle all the way through as the drivers continue in formation and have a good battle all the way through. But this is going to be a difficult one now because we've lost Whittingham and we've lost Matthew Taylor having a great run. So a big run for the rest of the race as Fowler now leads from Cole, Reeves-Smith, Sparrow, Sam Fowler now up to 5th. Chris Whitten's come through to P6. And then we've got Louis Bevan in there. So Louis Bevan's making a good comeback drive to 7th place. 8th position, that looks like the 66 of Goldsmith. So Goldsmith doing a great job for the Jade Racing team. Then we've got Gavin Pitt and Carl Sproat in the top 10 from Bowen, Wellham, Newman, Ayres, Johns, Lawrence. Moore is 17th. Then it's Whittaker, Hesketh and Josh Sheriff from Hogan, Duke and Wadley, with Butcher Lord, Cristiano Nardoni and Isaac Marsh in the mix. A few changes in position on the last one. Harry Moore up to 16th place now. And Theo Hesketh has come up to 20th from 31st on the grid. But out in front, it is still Joe Fowler. No major changes for him at the moment. He holds the position and leads comfortably from Ryan Cole and Joseph Reeves-Smith. And those three really have broken clear and got themselves a bit of a gap over the rest of the field. And I think it's going to remain that way, to be fair. But there's been some absolutely terrific battles and an amazing squabble in the midfield as drivers continue to battle away for position. A reminder again to the mechanics on the pit wall, please do not use hand signals. They have been outlawed. Please do not signal or gesture to your drivers. You are not supposed to do it. There could be sanctions handed out if you are spotted. Please don't do it. 31, Joe Fowler leads the way for the Jade Racing team, and that's a move from his teammate Sam Fowler up into P4. Good overtake there on Adam Sparrow. So that's a great move from Sam Fowler, and the 3-plate puts himself into 4th position. Then signals to Sparrow and Witten behind him. Come on, let's catch the leaders. So the top 3 working well. Fowler, Reeve-Smith, Fowler, Cole and Reeve-Smith. Then it's Sam Fowler from Sparrow, Witten, Bevan, Pitt, Goldsmith and Sproat. Zach Bowen losing 2 places on that lap, sadly. Christian Briley is there in 14th position, so he's there slotted into position again. Then it is Matthew Ayres, 15th. Harry Moore, 16th place. Then Lawrence, Johns, Sheriff, Hesketh, Whittaker, Hogan, and the rest of the field in behind. A lot of collateral damage for this race. We've lost Whittingham, Taylor, Deal, Reese, Brickley, and Stockford, all in all. Some of them taking the start, not all of them, though. So here comes your leader, Joe Fowler, over the line once again. 2 minutes 15 plus a lap on the clock. It's nearly there, nearly done for Joe Fowler. And he has controlled the pace of this race very carefully. And there's a contact down the main straight. We've got 2 of them off there. Now that was Zach Bowen, I think, going together with Matthew Ayres. So Matthew Ayres continues on his way, but he's got big damage. And I think that was Zach Bowen who went with him. The 32. It was either the 32 of Zach Bowen or the 37 of Christian Briley. And I couldn't quite tell which one it was. We'll try and find out if that was Christian Briley or not, as there's a big move. No, Briley was continuing on, so it's the 32 who got tagged in there. That is Zach Bowen, and that's a shame because he was the leading rookie. So it looks to me as though the leading rookie is going to be Samuel Johns, who won the repechage earlier. So that's going to be a really positive end to his weekend. He'll be very happy indeed with that. Fowler, Cole, Reeve-Smith, Sparrow, Witten and Bevan. Then it's Pitt, Fowler, Sproat and Wellham. From Newman, Goldsmith. Oh no, Zach Bowen has continued on. So who was it that dropped down the order with Matthew Ayres then? Well, I think he might have just about got away with that one, having lost a couple of positions on the road. So I think Zach Bowen was lucky there. He has dropped to 13th, but he's got Newman and Goldsmith ahead. Harry Moore is 14th. Then it's Josh Sheriff, Christian Briley, Lawrence Whittaker, Butcher Lord, Sam Johns. Then it is Hogan, Hesketh, Amy Dew, Lewis Wadley, Cristiano Nardoni and Isaac Marsh. Zach Bowen's made the move on Max Goldsmith and Louis Bevan's made the move on Chris Witten to move up into P5 as we go into, I think, 3 laps to go now as they come through this time by. The leader, Joe Fowler, second, Ryan Cole, and third, Joseph Reeve-Smith have got well clear of each other, and they are just going to run it out to the flag. Great racing from the 3 of them. They have stretched out the gap. 4th position is the next battle, and it's led by Adam Sparrow from Bevan, Witten, Pitt and Sam Fowler, who's dropped back a little way now. But with 2 laps to go, Joe Fowler looks like he's got this victory in the bag. He's just got to keep it going for a couple more runs, and then it will be all fine and dandy. But this is the final furlong for Joe Fowler into the last couple of laps. So, as we get to the closing stages, Joe Fowler has got this race with a 0.86 second advantage at the moment. The race is by the throat. Joseph Reeve-Smith in 3rd position. 4th place is anybody's as Bevan is holding off from Sparrow and Witten, who goes right round the outside of the 14 of Gavin Pitt to move up into P6. Great racing from Witten, who uses the outside line and gets by. Sam Fowler is through as we go into the last lap. Last lap, and this battle for 4th place is absolutely monstrous. Everybody trying to gain some good points from this one. And it's Bevan, Witten, Pitt, Sparrow, Fowler, Wellham, Sproat, Newman, Bowen and Goldsmith. That is 12 of them battling away for 4th position. That's going to be the race of the flag. The top 3 are settled and signed, sealed and delivered, as Stevie Wonder once crooned. But 4th place is still very much up for grabs from Bevan and Witten, with 6th place now Gavin Pitt. And Sparrow down to 7th. It looks as though there's been a bit of fisticuffs there. There's been a couple of carts coming together, but it's a victory out front. The checkered flag flies for Joe Fowler. He wins in front of the 48, and there's been contact and through the barrier. Goodness me, that is the 26 of Kyle Sproat, who's gone off the circuit and through the barrier at the end of the race. Well, they're going to have to slow up big time as they come across the line. But Joe Fowler wins it from Cole and Reeve Smith, Louis Bevan, Chris Whitton and Gavin Pitt. And Kyle Sproat has not finished the race. He's taken quite a hefty knock by the look of it. But, well, Joe Fowler winning the race then in fine style, but overshadowed by a little race-ending moment there for Kyle Sproat, who is through the barriers after a bit of a nasty knock. But it's Fowler who wins from Cole, Reeve Smith and Louis Bevan. Chris Whitton in 5th from Gavin Pitt, then Adam Sparrow, Pete Newman, Max Goldsmith and Sam Fowler. Then it's Harry Moore, Christian Briley, Josh Sheriff and Andrew Lawrence. Josh Sheriff emerges then as the leading rookie. Andrew Lawrence is there in 14th position, so we ended up losing a couple of drivers down the order in that last lap as the medics are on the scene very quickly for Kyle Sproat. Behind Sheriff, it's Andrew Lawrence, John Hogan 15th, then Dan Butcher-Lord, James Whittaker, Theo Hesketh, Amy Duke and Zach Bowen in the top 20. Then it is Sam Johns from Lewis Wadley, Rob Wellham, Cristiano Naldoni, Isaac Marsh and Alexander Lehman in 26th position. And then completing the field, we have the 27th place Gart in there at the back after his demeanours through the course of the race, Matthew Ayres. But Kyle Sproat is a non-finisher, as too is Lee Whittingham, Matthew Taylor, Ross Deal sadly out of the race as well. And then so too is David Brickley. But it's a victory for Joe Fowler, and we wrap up proceedings on the comms here on the Circuit PA from the racing, and we wrap up the Downforce radio feed as well. An absolutely fantastic end to the race here for Joe Fowler as he wraps up the weekend in fine style. A dramatic end to the racing here in the TKM Extreme. And we will wrap up proceedings with that form. A massive, fantastic and a huge thank you to the drivers from all of the classes and those of you supporting the Downforce radio stream live wherever you are. It's been a great meeting and I hope you've all enjoyed it. I'm Jake Sanson signing off on the Downforce radio stream from all of us here at the West of Scotland Karting Club at Larkhall, Scotland. A fantastic race weekend. Thank you and good night.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.